Hi and welcome to the 2022 Track Nationals at the Grassroots Velodrome here in Cambridge. I'm Andrew Williams, and joining me to my right is Keon Watts. We've got a great program on today with the women's sprints, the Paracycling, and it's a women's under 19 and elite cycling that we're seeing in the second session today. We've got the women's Elimination coming up, points races, so it's a pretty jam-packed program, Keon.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. I'm looking forward to seeing some of the women's races here, especially the elimination races. Those should be pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think they'll be pretty hotly contested out there today, and especially some of these elite women are really looking forward to trying to take the national title. Yeah,
for sure. First up with the elite women's sprint qualifying, we've got Rebecca Petch, who's fresh off her BMX national title last week in Hamilton. She is one to watch, along with Olivia King and Nicole Marshall. Those women filled the podium yesterday with the standing lap.
Yeah, and they really rode well in that 500 metre time trial yesterday, and Rebecca really showed how well she can transition from BMX to track cycling.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking from experience, I raced BMX back in the day, and it's a different beast altogether compared to track cycling. It's a lot smoother, that's for sure.
And I think we saw with like her explosiveness out of the gates yesterday and her ability to hold power under stress, it was pretty good.
Yeah, it was very impressive. As we can just see here. See number 44, Olivia King, rolling around the infield here. Waikato Bay plenty. She's be looking forward to showing her legs after stepping up to the Cycling New Zealand Women's Development Program.
Yeah, and she had a really good ride yesterday. I think she'd be really happy with the time she set out, and it looked like it was really well executed.
Yeah, and she'll be working on that with her coaches and trying to get the best out of herself. She's come from the Cycling New Zealand Junior Development Program, Junior Worlds in 2019, where she performed very impressively in the women's care, and they're making the final.
Yeah, and that's not an easy thing to do. You're competing against some of the best riders in the world for your age, and to make finals in any event is it shows you're definitely on the right track, doesn't it?
Yes, for sure. So as we can see, the woman lining up on the rail here, about to get pushed up onto the track for the first run. Our first rider up will be Rosita Hendry from Auckland.
So in the sprint qualifying, they tend to push the rider up with 3.5 laps to go. And then they try and build the pace as they go up. As you come into 1 lap to go, you will really see the rider start to try and hit their straps and be starting to hit top speed.
Yeah, it's all in the timing here, trying to wind up and when to time your sprint is really important, and when to drop down the banking and really hit that back straight with the head of steam.
And here you see Rosita getting ready to just about be pushed onto the track. It looks like it's Logan Townsend about to give her a wee push up. Logan's one of the helpers for the Auckland track team and been around for years.
So here we've got Rosita rolling around now. We just hear that Rebecca Petch has DNS'd. Not too sure of the reason why, but yeah, it's unfortunate. We would like to see her put out a time, but now it's up to the rest of the girls to prove their worth.
Yeah, it would have been really interesting to see what Rebecca had in her, especially after she set that New Zealand record not long ago in that standing 250. It would have been nice to see her really hit out in this flying 200 and see what she has to offer.
So We see Rosita now rolling around. She's going to get 2 to go here. She's going to start to wind her sprint up and hit that bell lap with a lot of steam.
So as she comes off the banking coming into the back straight, she'll really be looking to build her pace up, try and negate having to jump so hard towards the 250 metre mark.
Yeah, she's out of the saddle here. Dropping down the track, she's going to hit that bell and time her drop onto the black line. Looks pretty good to me, but she's got to keep going. She's got about 100 metres to go now. Hold that black line.
And it's a 12.6, so it looks like she's just, for the people that want to know, ridden at sort of 57k an hour for that 200 metres, which is really starting to move. I think as we get further through the girls, the likes of Olivia King and Nicole, we should start to see times in the sort of 11s to 10-second mark.
Yeah, all those top-end women are going to be hitting over 60k an hour fairly easily. I think 62, 63k an hour. That'll be close to the winning time, I think.
And here we've got Gertine Venter. She's out of the Southland Centre, just winding up through the banking. She's got 2 to go, so another lap before she's really flying in.
Yeah, she's looking like she's got the aero position pretty dialed here. She's got the aero helmet on, and she's got those elbows bent. Try and get her head as low as possible and get that the airflow over her head and across her back.
And she's really driving it in through the bell lap, and she just hits the 200 now.
She's got a big gear on, trying to push that down the back straight into the corner and try and get as much speed as she can before hitting the finish line.
And she goes into first in a 12.1. It looks like she's roughly about 0.4 ahead of Rosita there.
Yeah, as you can see, the speed's getting ever closer to 60k an hour average. Very impressive.
Now up, we've got Nicole Marshall. Nicole had a great 500 last night, finishing third. Traditionally a very fast starter out of the blocks, so it'll be great to see what she's got once she's up and rolling today.
Yeah, Nicole's always been a very consistent performer in the women's sprint competitions. She's come a long way since first racing down in Invercargill a long time ago now, but she's well experienced and she knows what she's doing.
And she's definitely tucking in well, getting aerodynamic and building that pace nicely as she comes into the final lap. Just trying to accelerate up to get that maximum jump off the banking.
She's timed her drop pretty well there, just hitting the black line before the 200 metre marker.
And it looks like she's 0.1 ahead at the 100 metre stage.
She hits the line, it's 11.8. That's the new fastest time there. We're into the 60s.
Yeah, and that's a good ride for Nicole. So no matter what, she's going to qualify in the top 2, which gives her a bit of an advantage going into the next rounds.
Yeah, 100%. She's qualifying second is going to put you up against the 4th place rider. So yeah, she's definitely at an advantage there.
So this is our last rider, Olivia King. So she's really progressed well on the sprinting scene recently, especially after she went to the Junior Worlds a couple of years ago, Keon.
Yeah, definitely. As you can see, just the form on the bike is looking night and day ahead of some of the other competitors. She's very aerodynamically sound. She's got the head low, got those elbows tucked at 90 degrees.
And she's really winding up well coming into this last lap. Great sprint lines, the benefit of training on a great velodrome like this one as well.
Yeah, she would have spent a lot of time on here, and as she comes through, the 5.4 at the halfway mark.
And nearly under 10, 11.1 there for Olivia, so great wee ride there.
Yeah, that's pretty quick there. That's nearly it's 3/4 of a second quicker than our closest competitor there.
And she's just shy of 65k an hour, so really moving in that one.
Yeah, she was. That's very impressive.
And obviously Rebecca Petch, as mentioned previously by Keon, is DNS in that event.
Next up, we've got the women's C1 Paracycling 3,000 metre individual pursuit qualifying. We've got 2 riders up, Elizabeth Gasson of Wellington and Nicole Murray of Waikato Bay Plenty.
And it looks like both of these ladies will be looking to go out and hit some really good times. We saw Nicole last night actually competing in the elite women's scratch race as well, which is really good. And we're just having a look at the sprint qualifying here. So results going with seeds. So Olivia King takes out the first slot, followed by Nicole Marshall. Gertane Venters in third, and Rosita Hendry is in fourth.
Yeah, some quick times there. Olivia, that's pretty impressive. She's blitzed the rest of the field there by 0.7 of a second, which is very impressive from her.
Yeah, and I think it'll be very hard for her to sort of be beaten looking at that one. There have to be some good tactics involved.
Yeah, you're going to have to use your head and try and outsmart her there, because she's got some quick legs on her.
Now we're going across to the paracycling. We're at C1 and C5. It's the individual pursuit over 3,000 metres. So we're just going across to Elizabeth Gasson. So she'll be looking out to have a really good ride here. So Elizabeth's from Wellington and is a multiple national champion across these disciplines.
She just gets her bike loaded into the stand there, hold the back wheel, and won't release her until the sequence has finished. Not to let her get a false start.
And looking at the bike here, she's got the double discs on and the aero set up, and the ISM saddle, which is very good for pursuing.
Yeah, she's definitely not lacking with the setup. It's a quick wee setup.
So what we're seeing is with the disc wheels, we're just going to give her a really good aerodynamic advantage, and the nice aero bar setup, she'll be able to sort of tuck her body away and try and get a little bit more aerodynamic, so it's going to cut through the wind a little bit.
Got 10 seconds left before her start here. Nice clean start there.
Yeah, she got out of the blocks really well there, and as she tries to build up pace.
Yeah, we'll see her get into those aero bars shortly and try and reduce her frontal position as much as possible. Try and tuck her head down and make her body almost like a bullet. Try and cut through the air without using as little force as possible through the legs.
So this is over 3,000 metres, so she's doing 12 laps. Initially she's riding really pretty solid lines here as well, which is quite good, trying to hold the black line on the velodrome.
Yeah, that can be a hard thing to do, especially coming from Wellington, where you've got the outdoor velodrome there. It can be a bit daunting coming to the indoor velodrome with its steep banking and 250 metre length. There's only 2 of these tracks in the country, so you need to really focus on your lines and use the shortest line as possible, which is the black line.
And what you tend to see in the big differences between the outdoor and the indoor velodrome is with the steepness of the banking, it tends to want to push you up when you get to the corners. So she's doing a pretty good job of trying to hold herself down as she goes around the banking there.
Yeah, she's still looking pretty stable there, Elizabeth. She's staying fairly low. She's just letting herself drift up the track a little bit, which she needs to really concentrate on keeping that down, but she's looking pretty solid so far.
Yeah, and she's going to come around and get 7 laps to go, so she's gone through the first kilometre, so and looks to be trying to build on that ride now.
All right, she's coming through to hit the halfway mark here.
And traditionally now, Keon, what are you feeling as you come through a pursuit, usually sort of a K&a-half into a 3K event?
Yeah, the sort of the adrenaline you feel in the first kilometre, it sort of almost feels like you're on the best day of your life. But as you sort of hit the halfway mark, and especially with a kilometre to go, 4 laps to go, you really start to feel the legs, and you try and suck in as much oxygen as you can, and try and keep the form steady, because once you start to move all over the place and your form gets ragged, then that's when you really start to ship time.
And it's sort of one of those events that how you're feeling can actually change very quickly. So you go out and, as you say, you're on the best day of your life, and then all of a sudden the wheels are coming off before you know it. Yeah,
it's super important to just have a measured ride and ride within yourself almost. And Elizabeth would have gone out there with a lap time in mind, and she'll be trying to hold that as best to her ability. But yeah, especially when you hit that last 4 laps, that timing really goes out the window, and you just have to push as hard as you can.
And she's coming into 3 laps to go, or just gone through 3 laps to go, so she'll be starting to feel the legs now and really be trying to drive through that.
Yeah, you can just see her shoulders there start to rock, but she's still riding a good line on the track, still following that black line as she comes in with 500 metres left.
Yeah, and she's really holding it together well through here and trying to still stay on schedule and keep driving for it.
Yeah, she comes through for the last lap here, bell lap. But it's really time to just give it everything you've got left. The legs will be in absolute agony, but you've just got to push through that and try and get to the line as quick as you can.
Yeah, she's into the final 125 now, so the final half lap, and she's really trying to drive to that finish line.
She hits the line there, it's a 440.
Yeah, and that looks like a really solid ride, really well measured and quite well controlled.
Yeah, definitely some good lines there. She never really let the fatigue hit her, and she kept on that black line, which is really important. You don't want to be doing any extra distance there when you're already doing 4K. She's just rolling around there to try and get rid of some of that lactic acid that it's built up in her legs.
And that's something that does really tend to build up in those last sort of 4 to 5 laps, isn't it, Keon? You can really sort of fall to bits pretty quickly.
Yeah, definitely. Once your legs are full of lactic, then it's pretty hard to recover from that, especially if you hit that wall too soon. 5, 6, 7 laps. It's a long time when you're broken.
And that's a massive PB there for Elizabeth as well. So that's a great ride and a 12-second PB. So that's not a small feat there.
No, that's very impressive, very impressive. She just sort of collapsed into the coach of her arms there. You can tell she's given it everything.
She'll be absolutely stoked with that, and what a phenomenal ride.
As we see Nicole walking up the track just to jump on her bike that's been loaded into the starting blocks.
Now, Nicole is one of the C5 riders, and she's been sort of at the top of her game for a wee while now, taking a silver medal in the 2018 World Champs, and and really looking to sort of push on, and she's just got back from a 4th place at Tokyo.
Yeah, as you see, 5 seconds left. Super clean start from Nicole there out of the gate. She's really trying to get over the gear as quick as she can before she sits down and rests herself into those aero bars.
Yeah, she's winding up really well and trying to get over that gear. And straight away, like, very good aerodynamic position, head's hidden really well behind the hands, and trying to build that pace up.
Yeah, she's very aerodynamically sound. You can tell that she's medal on the world champ stage, that's for sure. She's looking very solid. She's glued to that black line, head down, and I think we're going to see a good time from Nicole here.
Yeah, she comes around, and her coach Damien Wiseman's given her the call, so hopefully it's a good one, and she's really looking to build into that ride. And she actually had a really good ride yesterday in the Elite Women's Scratch race, and it was really great to see Nicole mixing that up in that race.
Yeah, it's awesome to see, and yeah, you can just tell how much time and effort that's been put into not only her training but her position on the bike, and the setup that she's got, Southern Spars wheels, and look how close her head is to her hands. That's pretty impressive there.
Yeah, and they've done just such a great job with that position, and it's nice to see her riding the kit that the elite teams are on, the Avanti Pursuit bike, and really getting everything going and giving her the best chance for success.
Yeah, as we see her come through, 7 laps to go, 1:37. So yeah, she's looking pretty rapid here, Nicole. She's still, her form staying steady as she comes pretty close to that halfway mark now.
Yeah, she's really moving here, so, and looks so controlled while doing it, so it doesn't look to be at all under pressure yet.
Yeah, that last 1.5 kilometres is really, really important as a rider in the individual pursuit, because you are starting to build that lactic in the legs, but you can't quite open the afterburners yet. You've still got a long way to go before you can really just let loose and give everything you've got left. She's still going to be trying to hold herself back.
Yeah, so she's just about to come in through the 2K mark, and it looks like she's on for a very good time here. Yeah, 2:32, so it's definitely moving for 2Ks.
Yeah, she definitely is. She's got 3.5 laps left now, Nicole. She'll be really starting to feel her legs, but she's going to be turning the afterburners on soon, I'm sure of it. Still very, very solid on the bike. Those shoulders are rock solid. No movement in the head either. So she's looking very, very comfortable. But this last 2 laps here, we'll see if she has got anything left in the legs.
Yeah, and it's sort of the make or break time and all the difference between a good ride and a great ride, those last two laps, isn't it? So hopefully she's going to really hold this together, and by the look of it, she's holding great lines around this track.
She comes in with a lap to go. It's looking pretty impressive here. It's really solid, no movement at all on those shoulders. Very aerodynamically efficient here. She hits the line, 3:44. That's
a stunning ride.
That is very, very impressive.
So 48, just over 48k an hour. So really, really good ride. 3:44.817.
Yeah, I think she'll be happy with that one. That looked very, very efficient and well ridden. Her coach down there, Damien, giving her the thumbs up. I think he's happy with that ride as well.
Yeah, it's always nice when you go out with a plan and go out and execute it and perform to the best of your ability.
Next up, event 33 here, we've got the under-19 women elite semi-sprint finals. So there's 2 heats here.
So it's going to be 1v4 in these races and then 2 versus 3. It's the best of 3, so the first of 2 wins will go through. So it'll be really interesting to see how these riders look to counteract each other.
Yeah, so we'll see Olivia King going up against Rosita Hendry from Auckland and Nicole against Gertine Venter from Southland. It's going to be interesting, a Southland match-up there. Looks like it's going to be Olivia and Rosita up first as they're drawing their positions down by the gate there.
Yeah, we're just having a look at Nicole and Gertine riding around together. They obviously know each other really well from training down in Southland and should know each other's tactics inside out.
Yeah, they may be friendly and cordial when they're not on the bikes, but yeah, especially when they're up against each other, there's no favours at all, and it's game time. Southland have a really good pedigree with breeding sprinters through their ranks. We've seen the likes of Eddie Dawkins and Jeremy Presbury recently. They've performed very well on the international stage for Southland.
And on the women's side of things, you've of course had Emma Cumming as well, who's looking to transition into the endurance sort of ranks, it looks like.
Yeah, that's an interesting decision, and I'll definitely be keeping an eye out for that. You don't really see that decision made to cross over from sprinting to the road, so the endurance side of the track. So yeah, interesting for sure.
And here we're looking at Olivia King, just getting her into her pedals and her toe straps. So usually the sprinters you'll see running toe straps rather than just clipping pedals like the enduros. Just helps prevent them from pulling out of their pedals when they're putting a lot of force through. And you've got Rosita here getting ready for her ride as well. And what would you be going through your mind now, Keon, as you're getting ready to sort of line up against some of the fastest girls in New Zealand?
I think it's all about trying to keep yourself calm. If you can keep yourself calm for as long as possible before your race starts, then you're saving a lot of energy mentally that you can use when you're out racing. So I think, yeah, keeping calm and not stressing yourself out is super important, especially with these match sprints, because they're just so full of mind games.
So it looks like Rosita's drawn 1 for this round with Olivia in number 2. So traditionally what we see is Rosita will lead off the line, and unless Olivia wants to take it over, it'll stay that way until they commit to their sprint.
Yeah, as we see them roll off here, they have to keep a minimum speed of walking pace for this first half lap, and then they can start to cat and mouse and see who wants to lead and who wants to follow.
Yeah, and tactically this will be really interesting to see how Rosita's going to try and combat Olivia's speed. Like traditionally, I think tactics are going to really play a big part for her in this one.
Yeah, I think she's going to have to try and get the jump on Olivia somewhere, because Olivia's just got that top end speed in abundance. So this is going to be an awesome watch, I think.
And what you can see here is Olivia's just giving her a little bit of room, just making sure that she's got space to react, and if she needs to run at Rosita, then she's got that space to do it. You've got 2 laps to go coming through now.
Yeah, Rosita's doing an awesome job here of just keeping an eye on Olivia as they start to wind it up now. Rosita's still checking in on Liv as Olivia comes up next to her, and she's just going to hold her there for as long as she can. start the sprint on her own terms.
Yeah, and by this, Rosita's essentially stuck, so she can't pull down. It's all up to Olivia as she makes the jump here, and Rosita's trying to get on the back.
Yeah, Olivia's just jumped there, and she's pulled out a bit of a gap, which unfortunately Rosita could not close as Olivia takes the first ride.
So 1-0 Olivia in that first round.
Yeah, very calm and measured ride from Olivia there. Although she'll be trying to take the win in these qualifying rides, she'll be trying to save as much energy as possible. She's got a few rides later on today to get through. So yeah, keeping those legs as fresh as they can while also making sure you're going through the final is pretty key.
Now we're about to come to the duel of the two Southlanders. So we're seeing number 2 qualifier, Nicole Marshall, up against Gertine Venter.
Here we are, the two Southlanders, about to roll up the track with the help of their handler.
And just with how they're lined up there, I'd just suggest that Nicole's drawn 1 for this ride, but it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, as they roll up to the commissaire, he'll give them the nod and send them on their way for the first round of their qualifying final.
So Nicole's got a lot of acceleration here, so it'll be really interesting to see how Gertine tends to or tries to counteract this.
Yeah, I'm sure both will have been under the guidance of Sid Cumming. He's a wealth of knowledge, that man, so be interesting to see if those two capitalise on some of his teachings.
And here we see Nicole's taking the lead. She's just going, quite a bit faster than the walking pace that's required for the first half a lap. Gertine's just giving her a little bit of space. So again, that just gives you a little bit of time to react and sort of see what the other rider's doing. The only thing you don't want to do is make sure you're not giving them too much space.
Yeah, you definitely want to space of 1 to 2 bike lengths to try and run at the wheel if they do jump. Just gives you time to accelerate while in the draft and pop out when the finish line comes near.
And here you see Gertine was just been sitting slightly above Nicole around the back straight, but sort of dropped down quite close now as we come into the bell.
Yeah, they've both kept it very low towards the black and red lines. It's a drag race here where the Gertine can get over Nicole.
She's definitely got an ability to run at the wheel there. It's just whether the speed's there at the moment to do it.
She comes with a late charge, but just comes up half a bike length short on Nicole. But very, very impressive ride from both of those girls. Round 2 should be an interesting matchup.
And it looked like there Nicole really played to her strengths, keeping it low, being able to accelerate hard and really make Gertine sort of chase hard at her.
Yeah, she kept the speed relatively low and it gave her the ability to jump out of the saddle and really accelerate and play to her own strengths.
So both Olivia and Nicole Marshall are a 1 ride apiece now, or 1 rider each in their semi-finals. So again, just a reminder, that's a best of 3. So now we come into the first round of the Kieran. So this is the under-19 women's. There's 2 heats of this. So this is the first Kieran I think we've seen at this National Champs, Keon. Do you want to do a little bit of an explanation about what we're going to see?
Yeah, so we're going to have Heat 1 here, which is made up of Emma Blackmore, Samantha Walker, Pearl Harris-Blaine, Emma Buffery and Jessica Schuler. We're going to see those 5 riders line up next to each other, and we can see the motorbike on the other side of the track. He is going to start, once the women have lined up, he is going to start his ride around the second corner, coming up to the straight, and we're going to see these women jump onto the back of the motorbike for their 2-lap wind-up.
And there's our motorbike rider ready to get it going. So here's the start list for the first heat of the Kieran. So we've got Emma Blackmore, Samantha Walker, Pearl Harris-Blaine, Ella Buffery and Jessica Schuler.
Yeah, we've got one Aucklander, one Cantabrian, a Southlander and 2 Waikato Bay of Plenty riders in this heat. So a wide spread of the country here in this first heat of the women's under-19 Kieran.
Yeah, and traditionally the Kieran can be a little bit of a lottery event. So you can sometimes see enduros tend to take it out, or some very fast enduros, but then you've also got the ability for the sprinters to really get into it, especially at under 19 level.
Yeah. It's going to be pretty paramount to try and get yourself into a good position. These days you see riders now sort of coming from the front and holding riders off. So the first and second wheels, I think, will be pretty important coming off that bike.
So there we're looking at Samantha Walker from Canterbury. She's being held by Elise Fraser, so one of the Canterbury Elite Women's coaches.
Just a slight hiccup there from one of the Waikato riders. I think that's Jessica Schuler as she starts her roll up onto the track.
Just trying to get her pedals and stuff right so they can actually push her up. There we go, and Ella Buffery's just heading up there now.
Yeah, so it looks like the 2 Waikato riders have drawn 1 and 2, so they'll be perfectly positioned on the back of the bike. And it's up to the other riders from Auckland, Southland and Canterbury to try and get the jump on them.
Yeah, definitely I feel here, if you've drawn sort of number 2 or number 1, you're at an advantage. Coming from the back, you've really got to make the race and have some clear tactics on how you're going to take the race out.
Yeah, especially with the bigger gearing that everyone is riding in the sprint events these days, you really have to make sure you're in a good position and just wind the gear up rather than jumping from the back, as the speed is already so high.
Especially now as you see that you've got to take the motorbike in the order that you're starting in. So essentially if you're starting in number 5 as Sammy Walker is there, you've got to go into number 5 from the start.
Yeah, as we see the motorbikes just come round and they're going to jump on the back of them and line up in their starting order. So after a lap behind the bike, you're allowed to start to move up and try and get into a position that you prefer. Once the motorbike rolls off onto the back straight, then you're allowed to overtake the first rider.
So you can see Jess Schuler's just backed off the motorbike a little bit, and Sammy Walker's trying to progress around the outside just to get her position in the right place. Following her around is Emma Blackmore.
Yeah, they're all going to be starting to fight for that first position once this motorbike pulls off, as Jess Schuler's left a bit of a gap there. I think she's hoping that she'll be able to jump on the motorbike once it pulls off and try and hold her first position there.
Yeah, the big thing as these riders are coming around the outside, you've just got to be careful you don't get caught on the hip. So then you're riding significantly further than everybody else.
Yeah, you want to try and take the shortest line possible. As we see Sammy Walker here, she's jumped into the first position there. She's staying high though. I think she's going to want to drop down as she does. It looks like Jess Schuler there, still second wheel now. This is the Southlander and the Aucklander staying wide.
2 laps to go here, and they're all trying to line up behind Sammy Walker, and and hopefully Sammy's not giving them a lead out.
As we see, we're coming into a bell lap, 1 to go.
And that's Pearl Harris-Blaine trying to kick around the outside there, but Sammy's got her on her hip, so if she can hold her there, it's going to look really good for Sammy Walker progressing through to this heat, and she's done really well.
Yeah, 3 wide coming into the finish straight there. She's done an awesome job of holding them off and stayed where she finished, which is first.
So Sammy traditionally is an endurance rider from Canterbury, but she's got a good turn of pace, and what we're seeing in the last couple of years is Sammy's really progressing nicely.
The second heat here, we've got 3 Waikato Bay Plenty riders, a Tasman rider and a Southlander. So another very, very interesting race coming up in store for us here.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't envy the position of the 2 non-Waikato riders here, Florence McNabb from Tasman and Cara Kelly from Southland. Here's the results from the previous heat. So Samantha Walker did a fantastic job holding everyone off. Pearl Harris-Blaine in second, and then you've got Jess Schuler taking out third. So I think in that last race we saw how hard it is to get around people if you've got them on the hip, Keon.
Yeah, just like I said, it's so important to make sure you're really on the front foot once that motorbike pulls off.
And it was really good to see Sammy or Samantha take the bull by the horns and really take control of that race and go in with a clear tactic and really execute it well.
Yeah, she's ridden a really smart race there by staying out of trouble, riding it from the front, keeping her eyes open and looking for any movement around the outside. But she's ridden that very smartly.
And here we see the girls are lined up for their first round. So we've got Cara Kelly leading it out. Looks like she'll be on the bike with Florence McNabb following her, and then the 3 Waikato riders all in a line at the back.
Yeah, I think, we've got a false start here. I think one of the rider from Southland's possibly pulled her wheel.
Yeah, so they'll have a little bit of time to be able to fix that, and then they'll restart the heat and get it going.
Yeah, these things happen sometimes. Not the rider's fault at all. Sometimes things go wrong. You just have to keep a level head when that does happen.
Yeah, it definitely plays on the back of your mind when you go on the line for the next time and try and line up and get ready for the start again when you've just had a bit of a mistake like that.
Yeah, you can't let it phase you. Get into your head at all, because that's when you start to stress out, and when you're stressed out, you're wasting energy.
So it looks like we're getting the girls lined up again, and while we wait for Cara just to get her bike fixed and back on the start line.
Yeah, her mechanic there just tightening that wheel before she heads out through the second heat, the second ride of the second heat, I should say. Just making sure that chain tension is right, not too tight, not too loose. You don't want the chain coming off, but you don't want to be wasting any extra energy with the tight spot on the chain.
So there we've got the girls ready to get started. They're just waiting for Cara to join them. So they're taking up the same start order as what they were previously.
All right, looks like her bike is ready to go, and she'll be joining the rest of her competitors in the second heat.
It looks like it hasn't really phased her. Bit of a funny moment there. So she seems pretty happy with that.
Yeah, she definitely looks like she's not too stressed out, so good for her. She'll be ready to give us a good ride to watch. Alrighty, let's try that again with Heat 2 of the Under-19 women.
Actually got the motorbike coming out of the back straight now and round the banking. Traditionally, as the bike goes into the straight, these riders will be starting to load their pedals just so they can get out of the gates a little bit easier.
And they're all pulling behind each other onto the bike. We've got Kiara on the bike, followed by Florence, with Sophie De Vries following her, and the two Waikato Bay Plenty riders, Charlotte and Gemma, on the back.
Yeah, we've got Gemma here who's just come off a third place in the 500 metre time trial last night. Really good standing start. She got through that 250 pretty quick. So it'll be interesting to see what she's done. And obviously Sophie De Vries, who was a really strong contender last year in these sprint events, she's starting to make her way back from injury.
Yeah, it's Gemma. She's made the first move on the outside there. She's going to be trying to look to improve her position once the bike pulls off and try and take that front wheel, because we've got some fast women in here. Sophie De Vries, Florence McNabb, those two are very, very quick, as we've seen.
And you see before the girls were just given a little bit of space, so you're seeing Cara keep the pace relatively high, so she'll just be keeping an eye on what's coming around the outside from Florence and from Gemma there.
Looks like they've all got the same idea here, trying to move up as they hit 2 to go.
And they've hit out early.
Yeah, very, very early. It's a good job from Kiara. She's holding Florence up high as Sophie De Vries comes and takes that second spot. She's in a perfect position once.
Yeah, it's just opening up for her now, isn't it? As you've seen Florence just start to fade back a little bit, so it's opened up for Sophie really to get through. And it'll be pretty tight to see who's nipped that last qualifying spot.
Yeah, it's between Gemma and Florence there for that third and final qualifying spot. Very smartly ridden by Kiara and Sophie there, keeping the powder dry and not wasting too many berries, trying to stay towards the front.
And again, we just saw another rider really take ascendancy and lead that ride out. And what we saw is just the same as what Sammy Walker did in that last race. Get a rider on the hip, hold him there, and that rider fades, and away you go. Your track's open.
Yeah, definitely. You want to be as close to the front, and definitely on the black line there. You don't want to be wasting any extra energy by riding higher than you need to on the track.
And then we're definitely looking at the photo finish, I think, of that last event, Keon, just to see who nips that third spot. There we go. So this is the second round of the Kieran, or the first round, but the second heat. So we've got Cara Kelly, Sophie De Vries did a really smart tactical ride there. And it looks like Florence McNabb has just dipped out Gemma Cautery, which is a little bit of a surprise.
Yeah, I think Florence, she's got the power there. She just needs to possibly go back after this first round and go back to the drawing board and really try and conduct a plan to try and ride this final a little bit smarter, trying to hit the front possibly a bit earlier.
So we're going straight back to the sprint semi-final now. So we're going to see Olivia King have another crack at this and see how we go.
Yeah, second round here for the women's sprint competition. As we saw earlier, Olivia King taking out the first ride ahead of Rosita Hendry. If Olivia does manage to take the second ride, then she's through to the final. But if Rosita takes this, then we'll be off to a third ride to decide that.
Obviously for Olivia, the best result for her would be going straight through, so taking this in a 2-0 win means she'll hit the final a lot fresher and hopefully ready to go. But obviously Rosita's going to have something to say about that before the end.
Yeah, if you're going into a third ride-off, you've just got to spend that extra energy with another full gas sprint. And you don't really want to be making those huge efforts too much. Otherwise, you're going to be, once you hit that final, if you do make it into the final, your legs are going to be not as fresh as they would be if you'd just done two efforts.
And Rosita's giving her a little bit of a gap here. So just trying to watch what Olivia's doing and try and follow her and take advantage of what's happening.
As Olivia drops down the track, she gains a bit extra speed and a bit of a gap there on Rosita. So we come through. It's going to be one lap to go coming around this time as Olivia's winding it up on the front. Rosita's jumped early down to the bottom. She's going to try and take the lead from Olivia as she does. Olivia's going to have to come around the outside.
Yeah, and she's just going past like pretty quickly there, and there's not an answer from Rosita. So Olivia's really got hold of this semi-final, and she's going straight to the finals.
Yeah, so we've got one confirmed rider for the women's sprint final there. It's Olivia King of Waikato Bay of Plenty. Some smart riding there to advance herself with 2 rides into the final.
Yeah, and she'll be really pleased with how she's progressed through that semi-final, and she'll be ready to either look at facing Nicole or Gertain as they go through into their second ride coming up.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching the second ride. It was Nicole ran Gertain very, very close in that second ride. So yeah, it's all to play for. See who makes this final between these two Southlanders.
So we're seeing Nicole come into this one up. So she's definitely got all the advantage, and she'll be riding, I think, from wheel number 2 in this one because she drew number 1 in the last round.
Yeah, as we see Olivia there, just hopping off her bike and walking down the stairs. She's opted it warm down and then keep her legs fresh before her final ride off between one of these Southlanders.
So Nicole's just walking up the stairs now, getting ready to get on her bike and take her place. And Gertain's just coming through as well.
Both of them lining up there. Looks like Gertain's going to be leading this one in, with Nicole following until at least half a lap.
And this will make for different tactics compared to their first round. So when Nicole really took it out and led from the front and kept it low and accelerated hard, and Gertain couldn't get round her in the end, although it was pretty close. Nicole's going to have to adopt a different tactic. So either she's going to need to take the front off Gertain, or follow and try and get round her at the end.
Yeah, Gertain really had the pace coming onto that final straight in the first ride, so I'd imagine she'd be wanting to keep the pace pretty high and use her top end speed to try and cross that finish line in front of Nicole.
And Gertain takes the lead as she's required to do straight away. So they'll be just sort of going around about walking pace for the first half a lap.
Yeah, Gertain's already keeping her eye on Nicole there. She's looking for any potential jumps that Nicole might make using her acceleration advantage over Gertain.
Nicole's looking super relaxed here, so looks really in control and confident of what her tactics are for this race.
Yeah, Gertine, she's holding the front still. She's keeping an eye on Nicole as Nicole leaves a 2-length wide gap. She's going to, I'd imagine she's going to try and catch her off guard and try and take that front position before she hits the bell lap.
So they're staying low through here.
2 laps to go. They've started this pretty early here. Gertine's holding Nicole up the top. As Nicole's trying to move in on take that first wheel, but Gertine's done an awesome job of holding Nicole up high.
Yeah, and you just see Nicole go away there, and she fought hard through there and managed to get over the top of Gertine and take the win.
Yeah, she just straight out drag raced Nicole, and Nicole was the deserved winner.
So as we can see, you've got Nicole Marshall taking out that sprint semi-final, so she goes through 2-0 over Gertine. Really good fight there from Gertine though, so she looked like she was really trying to give it to Nicole and try and take the win, which is great to see. So Nicole goes through and she'll be racing Olivia King in the final.
Yeah, it'll be Gertine against Rosita for the bronze medal final as well, so that'll be an interesting watch as well.
So there's roughly a 10-minute break now between the races, and then they're going to head into the women's sprint finals. So they'll get started in those in roughly about 10 minutes. In that time, we've got Keon Watts next to me. So Keon actually took out the scratch race last night, so he's the elite men's national champion. Keon, how was your race yesterday?
Yeah, it was a pretty active race from me personally. I just managed to sneak out a gap with I think 18 laps to go there of the 60-lap race, and Dan Bridgewater, another Waikato rider, managed to follow me as well, and we were off lapping pretty well, us together. We gained half a lap pretty quickly, and then the gap sort of evened out before we came in with about 6 laps to go, and we were catching up to the back of the bunch, and yeah, me and Dan sort of started to play some cat and mouse, and yeah, just managed to have the fresher legs to take the win over Dan. But yeah, it was an awesome race, and yeah, happy with my ride personally, and yeah, a very deserved podium for Dan and also George, who managed to take third in the bunch sprint behind us.
And this was your first national elite title?
Yeah, it was. It was a pretty cool feeling being able to put on a elite national champs jersey for the first time. So yeah, very happy.
And for those of us that don't know you, you were also a junior world champion a couple of years ago?
Yeah, me and Lawrence Pithy managed to take out a rainbow jersey in the junior men's Madison event in Germany there at the Junior Worlds. So that was a pretty special feeling. Yeah, it's a few years ago now. Feels almost a lifetime ago, but yeah, very, very fond feelings.
So as we're waiting in this break, we're going to come back with the women's sprints and then into the under-19 Kieran. So I think we'll have a pretty hot racing coming up.
Yeah, I think so as well. It'll be Olivia versus Nicole. That's going to be one hell of a matchup. Really looking forward to watching that and seeing how that unfolds.
Oh. So we're really lucky to have here the elite women's national team coach, Ross Majeski. We've managed to pull him out of his office and his tactical analysis of the women's rides from last night. And it's really good to have you here, Ross.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. I was just commenting on the dulcet, silky tones of both yourself and Keon on the commentary. Sorry, I'm not quite as smooth as that, but last night was a good race to kick things off for the girls. We've got a couple of the girls off ill, as is the way at the moment, but I think the ones out there did a good job, and it was nice to see a couple of the younger girls putting their hands up and having some solid races as well, which is quite cool for our future.
Yeah, we really saw that with Ella Wiley taking the bull by the horns and really trying to stick the boot into those elite girls.
Yeah, it was pretty cool actually. She paid respect to some of the older girls, but not too much, which was a nice blend. She wanted to when they got away in that group of four, really keep things moving, and probably almost to her detriment. She was doing some quite long turns and going for the full lap turns as opposed to the half lap turns like some of the older, more experienced girls. And in the end, that was probably to her detriment, but it certainly helped them keep away from the rest of the group.
Yeah, no, it's a really good showing for her to take out her, first elite medal and what is, I think his first year or second year out of under 19. So she's progressing really well.
Yeah, definitely. I think she was one of a group of younger girls that were here, for a week or so building up to the nationals, and we've missed a lot of development for that younger group with various events being cancelled and stuff. So this is really the first time we've got to see a lot of them race for a long time, and it was pretty pleasing. And I think she's definitely one to watch. She had a really strong time trial on the road not so long ago as well, and be interested in her and a few of the other ones as the week progresses, starting with this elimination coming up actually.
Yeah, and what should be, as we've got that coming up, there should be a pretty exciting race, and there's some very, very good girls in this race, and I think they'll be really looking forward to just showing what they've got and getting out there and racing hard.
Yeah, the elimination's always one where you can get stuck in. It's not a huge field, but it's not a tiny one either, which is nice. Sometimes when you've got eliminations with really small fields, it changes the dynamic a wee bit. The hardest thing, I guess, for the elimination will be, well, probably for the judges, actually who was the last across the line each time. So they'll have their work cut out for them. But there's a few experienced ones in there. You've got Holly Edmondson, who was at the Olympic Games and rode a good elimination at the Olympic Games as part of the Omnium. So she knows what she's doing. Unfortunately, we don't have Ellie Wollaston here, who would have, probably one of the the sharper elimination riders, but yeah, last night's scratch race winner Bryony Both is certainly looking to put her hand up for bunch races in the future going forward as well. So she's looking to show what she can do from a technical front.
Yeah, and we saw last night, Bryony definitely showed his strength in that finish as well. So she held off some very fast finishes to take that win out, which is really good. And we know she's pursuing really well with that recent New Zealand record. So she's definitely got a clean pair of heels there. Yeah,
I think after the Olympics, she sort of said to us that she wants to put her hand up for bunch racing in the future and get in the mix, and I guess develop her from just a pursuiter. So it's pretty cool to see her start off on that front with a win last night.
So with the races coming up, Ross, what are you really looking forward to see? And as a national coach, what are you looking to see?
Yeah, I think, like I referred to earlier in the scratch races, it's really good to see a little bit of aggression. People that are prepared to race and not just wait for a result in the last few laps. That's really encouraging, especially from the young riders. And yeah, we've got Oceania Games in a couple of weeks, and I think the biggest challenge for that is getting there at the moment. So there's a mixture of preparing for that here and using the bunch racing to refine the skills and also the engine a wee bit. But also, just refine and get back into that race mode that's been quite a while for some of them. And ahead to Oceanias, that's probably the one where we're going to try and win some points. Points being important to get our starts and things like the World Championships and the like. So that'll be something we're sort of using this for, and to go over there and kind of build towards the Com Games and the World Champs later in the year. Yeah,
which is really exciting to see, and it'll be great to see everyone really try and kick on.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
So we're about to kick on to the next part, which is the final of the sprints. So I'd like to thank Ross for joining us. He's done an amazing job, and obviously give us a little bit of an insight of what's coming up for the elite women's team, but then also what he's seen at the racing last night with some of the riders coming through and the development girls as well.
Nice, thanks for having me, Andrew.
No worries, thanks Ross. Thanks, mate. So Keon's just about to join me again. So as we get ready for the sprint final, so this will be a really interesting one, and I think we're going to see some close racing here, especially in the third and fourth place ride-off with Gertine and Rosita really looking to sort of claim that bronze medal and show that they're sort of becoming a sort of there or a force in the sprint series in New Zealand. And then obviously we've got the matchup between Olivia King and Nicole Marshall. So as we mentioned earlier, Olivia got second in the 500 metre time trial last night. So and then we're seeing Nicole, who was third. So it's really a battle between some of the fastest girls in New Zealand here. Welcome back, Keon.
Yeah, cheers. We've got the final first round here for the women's sprint coming up. Olivia versus Nicole. So, it's going to be an interesting ride because both of them are pretty evenly matched. Olivia's probably got the more top end, but the acceleration on both of them is very similar.
So, Keon, you've been in this situation before, like racing a sprint final. I believe it was in under-17s. But what's going through your head at this point?
Yeah, a long time ago now. I was never really a pure sprinter, so I always sort of tried to just try and copy the older riders that I watched, sort of the Sam Websters and Eddie Dawkins, Ethan Mitchell, those guys, and you can really learn a lot off them. Whether that's just riding from the front with the looking behind at the riders behind and or the rider behind, or whether you're trying to be the rider at the back and try and jump them. There's a lot to be learned off the older riders, and I definitely use that to my advantage.
And what we're seeing for this year's national champs, for the first time in quite a while, we're seeing the under-17s and under-15s racing with the elites. For obvious reasons, that hasn't quite worked out how it was probably planned, but it's great to see that they're trying to sort of showcase the elites to the under-15s and under-17s and give some really good learning opportunities as well.
Yeah. This event, I can't wait for it in the future with the COVID restrictions eased. It's really going to be a big, awesome event to watch and be in the stands as well. It's going to be pretty awesome feeling for the competitors just to have that crowd back.
So we're looking at the two riders riding for third and fourth here. So we've got Rosita Hendry here, just focusing on what she's doing. Again, you've got Logan Townsend just about to push her up on the track, and then Gertine Venter just being pushed up.
Yeah, this is the first ride for the bronze medal here between these two. I'd say Rosita's got a little bit of a punch on Gertine, but we'll see how this first ride off goes. Gertine's got a lot of strength, so we'll see if she can use that to her advantage.
Yeah, Gertine was super impressive in that second ride against Nicole Marshall. She really held her off well, and it wasn't until that last lap that she started to sort of fade a little bit. So she definitely was trying to take it to her.
Yeah, it's good, really good to see. And with some of New Zealand's elite category, some of them out with injury, and with Rebecca not racing as well, there's room for these women to step up and really showcase their talent.
So we're seeing Gertine take the front now. So showing from her strength in that last round, she's going to be very hard to get over. So it looks like her tactics are going to be to try and lead this out. She's just got to be careful that that Rosita doesn't get the jump on her from the top of the track there, but it looks like it's she's pulled down with this pace that Gertine's riding.
Yeah, Gertine's just coming jogging up the track here to hold Rosita up towards the barriers, but looks like Rosita's jumping. Gertine's staying close to her, trying to hold her up there, but looks like she might have the advantage here, Gertine, as she's still holding Rosita up until she starts her own sprint.
Yeah, and Rosita's obviously got the run off the banking, but she's extremely high. So Gertine's really sort of trying to hold her off here.
Yeah, as we see Rosita try to make a jump towards the outside to come round Gertine, but she's not quite going to make it. She's come up about a bike length short.
And a lot of strength shown there by Gertine. She held her off really well, but even how she rode through the lap to go mark, she was holding Rosita relatively high and sort of prevented her jumping round.
Yeah, it's a really calm and measured ride by Gertine there. She had obviously went on with the game plan and held Rosita up high, prevented her from jumping until she was ready to start her own sprint. And she's taken that one pretty convincingly.
So in the bronze final, so we're seeing Gertine Venter go one up against Rosita Hendry, and we're just about to come to the final, so the gold and silver race with Olivia King and Nicole Marshall duking it out.
As we see Nicole getting pushed up there, she's obviously drawn first, so she'll be leading it out with Olivia following her.
And definitely for these ladies, you want to be trying to play to your strengths here. So it'll be interesting to see. It looks like Nicole as a rider has got a good jump, good acceleration. Olivia looks like she's got a lot of top end speed. So sort of two slightly different riders here. So it'll be good to see what they put out and how they race against each other.
Yeah, I think Nicole's got a bit to prove. She wants to take that next step up into the elite women's Cycling New Zealand squad. She's got to really try and impress the coaches here and try and give Olivia a good run for her money.
So I've seen Nicole take the lead. Olivia's just sort of watching her closely, giving a little bit of a distance, but nothing crazy at this stage.
Yeah, as you see Olivia, she's making herself as wide as she can, going up and down the track, trying to get out of Nicole's line of sight.
So we're coming through to 2 to go, so the bell next time round. So again, Nicole just watching closely Olivia, so as she starts to move up the track.
Yeah, it looks like Olivia's staying pretty high on the banking. Nicole's starting her run. Looks like she's going to try and keep it below the blue as Olivia starts to jog up the track and launch into her sprint as Nicole jumps.
Yeah, and that's jump. Like Nicole's got a good jump, but the top end of Olivia looks to be really coming in now as she runs at her, and it's a good run too. So she's going to run up and along the banking, and it looks like she's going to roll over relatively easy on the end.
Yeah, Olivia really anticipated Nicole's jump there, and she thought about that one before she jumped down the banking and started the run at her wheel.
So Olivia goes one up in the final.
It's back to the drawing board for Nicole there. They go into their second round. She's got a few things to think about.
So here's the, there was the results there. So you saw Olivia King take it over from Nicole Marshall. We're just about to progress now into the women's Kieran final. So the 7th to 10th. So these are the ladies that didn't qualify for the final for the gold, silver, and bronze.
Yeah, it's still very hotly contested for these minor placings. We see we've got three Waikato Bay Plenty riders there, along with Emma Blackmore from Auckland.
So you've got Gemma Cordery in one. Then you've got Ella Buffery. Emma Blackmore's in 3.
The commissaire just checking each rider is ready to start the race before they give the green light to the motorbike.
Yeah, we've got Charlotte Earle running in number 4 there, so that's the position where she's really going to have to make a move and make a decisive choice on what she's going to do in the race. Cool, and they're off, and so they'll just take their places behind the bikes in the positions that they drew before the start.
Yeah, it looks like Gemma's onto the back of the bike straight away, followed by Ella Buffery with Emma Blackmore in 3rd and Charlotte Earle in 4th position.
So we can see Gemma's really trying to get as much shelter as she can behind the bike. She's tucking in really nicely, trying to become as aero as she can. And we're seeing the girls trying to progress around the outside a little bit, so trying to make their move.
Yeah, it looks like everyone's fighting for that better track position as the motorbike is about to pull off. Here we see
Gemma's got the lead there.
Gemma's still in front.
It looks like Ella Buffery's got quite a good position there, second wheel, and Gemma looks like she's willing to take the lead and keep the pace relatively high to prevent attacks coming through the outside. We can just see Emma trying to make her move through the outside. It's sort of a move where she maybe needs to be decisive on what she's doing, just try and hit the front if that's what she's wanting to do.
Yeah, sprinting's all about these split-second decisions, and if you make up your mind, then you really have to make sure that you follow through with it. And as we see Gemma, he's running away with the race, following her, or trying to follow her, as Emma Blackmore, with Ella Buffrey and Charlotte Earle across the line.
Yeah, we really saw the speed there that Gemma had in that 500 metre time trial last night come out. So it was great for her to finish the Kieran like that.
Yeah, as we go through here, the next ride up is the 1st to 6th final. So we've got some very strong women here. Florence McNabb from Tasman, Samantha Walker from Canterbury, Kiara Kelly from Southland, Pearl Harris Blaine from Southland, Sophie DeVries from Waikato Bay of Plenty, and Jessica Schuler also from Waikato.
And this will be a really interesting race, Keon. There's a lot of very strong girls here, some fast girls. Quite a few enduro riders in this field, as we saw with the likes of Sammy Walker taking it out previously.
Yeah, with the way that sort of sprinting has developed now, we're seeing more riders having to go long with use that endurance and try and hit out from sort of 2 or 3 laps to go. So we see
Florence McNabb.
And here we've got
that's Jess Schuler there.
Jess Schuler, yep, from Waikato. Following her is Sophie DeVries, also from Waikato.
There's Cara Kelly coming up. There's Samantha Walker. And then we've got Pearl Harris Blaine and drawing number 6, I think, in the final. So again, positioning is very important in this.
Yeah, I think there's a few lessons to be put into action here from the last round for some of these women.
So Florence McNabb will look to lead it out onto the bike. Then she'll be followed by Jess Schuler and then Sophie DeVries. Both of those ladies had a really good round in the heats. Then we've got Cara Kelly, who took out the win in Heat 2, and versus Sammy Walker, who was the winner of Heat 1. And then we've got Pearl Harris Blaine there as well from Southland.
So you just get the all clear from the commissaire as the motorbike starts coming over from the other side of the track. So just a reminder that all these riders have to stay in their order on the bike until they've at least done 1 lap behind the moto.
So as we're off, Florence McNabb will look to take the bike as she sort of slowly winds up and gets into position.
I'd imagine there's going to be a fair few riders trying to move their way up and shuffle their way past once the bike is pulled off, since being on the front or towards the front is so important these days.
So we can see that in wheel number 2 there, Jess Schuler's giving them a little bit of space as Sammy Walker tries to progress down the outside just to improve her position before the sprint starts. Looks like Sophie DeVries is trying to hold her a little bit on the hip, so doesn't want to give Sammy that position.
It's like the 2 Southlanders behind trying to fight for Sammy's wheel there. They know it's the one to follow. Jess Schuler's holding that gap to Florence McNabb's back wheel. Looking for once Sammy Walker jumps, she's going to try and jump on her as she comes past.
So we're coming through to 3 to go, so the bike's actually come off now. So it's going to be really crucial as we sort of see the last 2 laps come through where these girls are positioned and also how much the race is actually taken out of them to get into position.
So Jess Schuler there still holding Sammy Walker next to her, as she's going to go for that gap once she makes her jump.
Yeah, and you really need to make your jump now, so you don't want to be caught. As we see Cara Kelly really take ascendancy there. So that was a great jump by Cara. we're seeing Sammy Walker and Pearl Harris-Blaine try and make their positions or get into position properly.
Two Southlanders here just riding away from the rest of these girls. There's a bit of bumping and barging behind for that those remaining podium spots.
Yeah, Florence McNabb may be in a little bit of problems there, pulling out of her line and taking Sammy Walker's front wheel with her, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's always a bit of bumping and barging that happens in Kieran. Everyone's going for such small gaps there. There's not much property to run at, so yeah, everyone's trying to follow wheels that really shouldn't be followed.
And again, we're seeing a ride that was very similar to a heat, so where Cara Kelly hit out, took ascendancy, and really took the race by the scruff of the neck. So she did really well there, and I think she'll be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, definitely. That's a very, very calm and impressive ride from Kiara. She hit out early, and no one could come around her.
So here's the replay now. You can see Cara's really taking control as Florence McNabb takes Sammy Walker's front wheel. Pearl Harris-Blaine's driving pretty hard at the finish as well. So definitely Cara's going to be pretty happy with that. And Pearl Harris-Blaine in second, so it's a Southland 1-2 there.
Yeah, very impressive from the Southland centre there. I think Sid Cumming will be very, very pleased with that.
So we're coming into the sprint finals. So this is the second ride for the bronze medal.
So just here, there is a infraction for Sophie De Vries for coming up on the blue band there in the sprint, coming under the rider in front of her.
So here we come. We've got Gutane up 1-0 in the final for bronze. And she looked super strong in that last round, Keon.
Yeah, she did. She rode that almost tactically perfect, played into her own strengths, and yeah, she really made Rosita ride to what she wanted to do. Kept her up high, and yeah, didn't let her down until she was ready to start her own sprint. And there's not much you can do when you're being held up there. You either have to back off or just wait for the rider below you to give you some space, because yeah, they're just going to continue to hold you up there if you keep accelerating.
So it looks like we're just about ready to go in this third place ride-off. So just a reminder, Gerdine Venters 1-0 up in the best of three. So judging by how she rode the first round, I think we're going to see her try and lead out again, Keon. She's just taking the front quite nicely and just seems to be controlling it a little bit now.
Yeah, it's a smart decision. She really played that well in the first round, and it's up to Rosita to try and change her tactics and get the jump on her.
So Rosita's just running slightly higher than Gutane there, so if the jump does happen, she's definitely going to get the run off the banking, which does actually affect the speed quite a lot. You do get quite a big boost coming down from the top of the banking there, especially if your opponent's on the bottom of the track.
Yeah, it looks like Gutane is trying to play the same tactic here with Rosita as she winds it up off the top. She's not going to let herself get stuck there again.
And maybe just a little bit of hesitance there from Rosita once she got clear of the front wheel of Gerdine. She sort of pulled back a little bit. So Gerdine's got her on her hip now, so it'll be very hard to get round her.
Yeah, Gertine is really just showing her horsepower here. She's really ridden away from Rosita here. She's coming back at her strong, but it's not gonna make a difference as Gertine takes the win there by about half a bike length.
Yeah, and with that she gets the bronze medal in the women's sprint. So by my recollection, this will be her first national medal. So well done, Gertine.
Yeah, very impressive. The elite medal, it is nothing to be snuffed at. So yeah, very good riding from her.
So there we look at the results there. So we've got Gertine Venter taking out the second ride. So just over 55k an hour. So moving pretty quick in that with Rosita Hendry in second.
And now we have the second ride for the for the gold medal ride. Again, that's Olivia versus Nicole Marshall. Olivia rode a very strong, smart race in the first round, so it's up to Nicole to try and bring back that deficit and try and make it a third ride.
Yeah, Nicole tried to play to her strengths, so it was a well thought out ride. It's just in that last one, Olivia had a little bit more to answer.
So it's going to be Olivia leading out for this round, with Nicole following. So it's up to Olivia to keep an eye on Nicole and make sure she doesn't use that strong acceleration that she has to make a jump on her. So as Olivia leads it out very slowly, drops down the track, Nicole's going to leave a bit of a gap there. She's possibly wanting to use that gap to accelerate into.
Yeah, so I think with Olivia, she's got one up, so she'll really be trying to nail this in two rides, Keon.
So we see Nicole there takes first wheel. She wants to stay in control of this and yeah, really try and dictate when the sprint starts.
Olivia seems to be happy with that, so letting her take it, so there wasn't much of a fight there. And coming from behind with Olivia's speed tends to suit that style of rider.
Yeah, if you're the stronger rider, you shouldn't have too much of an issue with starting your sprint second wheel. If you're confident that you have the jump and you can get over them towards the finish line, then yeah.
Here we go, we're seeing Nicole try and wind it up as Olivia pulls through the track just to get the run off the banking.
Nicole's again jumped really hard going into the bell, but Olivia is running at her along the back straight there. She's cleared her back wheel, so yeah, pretty convincing win there for Olivia. She's done that very well, and such a strong ride. Both of them pretty similar as well in style.
It was really good to see Nicole there try and mix it up with Olivia and sort of play to her strengths there as well and wind it up and try and take the race. But just with too much pace there, Olivia, she was just essentially too good on the day. So here's the results of the final. So gold medalist Olivia King takes the second round and wins the final 2-0 over Nicole Marshall, who will come away with the silver medal.
Yeah, excellent riding from both of these women. But I think Olivia will be very happy. That's her first elite title as well. So yeah, she'll be very happy with that. And yeah, I think her coaches will be as well.
So it looks like we're coming up with the women's elimination now. So this is was one of Keon's favourite ones before we started today, and one he was really looking forward to. So this is the elite women's elimination, and no doubt Ross Majewski, who I was just talking to before, taking a really keen interest in this, seeing how his elite team and the development team progress, Keon.
Yeah, this race is as a viewer, it's awesome to watch. It's less exciting, or less, the riders are usually less enthusiastic, as it can be pretty dicey. But essentially, the last rider across the line, every 2 laps is eliminated. They'll get the bell every second lap, and one rider, the last rider across the line, is eliminated from the race until we come down to 2 riders, and then they have essentially a match sprint really to decide the winner.
And this is a race that really does burn the lungs and the legs, so especially as you tend to progress into the final stages of it. So with the amount of women that we've got today, it's definitely going to be a fair few laps there before the race is over, and if you're making the end, you're definitely going to know that you're feeling it by the end.
Yeah, so starting on the front of the rail, we've got Bryony Botha from Waikato Bay of Plenty, Samantha Donnelly from Canterbury, Erin Downey behind her, also Canterbury, Holly Edmondson from Mid-South Canterbury, Ella Wiley from Auckland, Prudence Fowler behind her from Waikato, Emily Sherman from West Coast North Island, Emma Cumming from Southland, Penny Pawson also from Auckland, and then the 2 Waikato riders, Anna Wilkinson and Joanne Miller.
And some of these women will be familiar from strong rides last night, so we're seeing the top 4 in here, and we saw some great rides from Bryony Botha, who took the win last night in the scratch race, which was tightly fought with Holly Edmondson in second, and then we had Ella Wiley, who, as we were talking about with Ross Majewski before, is really progressing well. And then not to forget to mention Penny Pawson, who is actually a Masters rider, riding really strongly here at these championships.
Yeah, she's made the choice to ride the Elite National Track Championships as well as the Masters Championships that were 2 weeks ago, sorry. So yeah, it's going to be a hotly contested race, and I'm looking forward to watching it.
Now, the elimination is a race where you really don't want to be on the back of the bunch, so it'll be interesting to see who is trying to fight for the front straight away, and there's sort of two different tactics here. You can sort of sit near the front and try and be in safety, or you can sit at the back and try and pick the last rider off every time as it comes through. Traditionally, that last tactic, you are definitely playing with some fire.
Yeah, I'd say myself personally, I'd prefer to be towards the front of the field. As we can see, there's a big rush to get to the front in this neutral lap before the gun will fire, signalling the start of the race. But yeah, it's vitally important if you're choosing the first tactic to move yourself to the front of the race.
And as we can see already, Emily Sherman definitely knows where she wants to be, and that's not at the back. She's taken the front from Bryony Botha. Sammy Donnelly sitting in third with Ella Wiley tucked in there in fourth. And Erin Downey, who's actually had a really great national championships, is sitting in fifth behind Sammy Donnelly. Holly Edmondson looks like she's taking the reverse tactic and will be picking riders off from the back.
Yeah, I expect her to make a charge round to the front on this back straight here, as she'll be trying to come over these 2 Waikato riders before she hits the finish line.
And it looks like Erin Downey might be in a little bit of trouble here.
Looks like that was Joanne Miller there, missing out from Waikato number 45.
And Holly Edmondson's just made her move to the front now, so she's just about to pull over Sammy Donnelly as we get the bell for the next lap.
We can really see how fast this race can change, as we see Emily Sherman now on the last wheel after being on the front for that previous sprint.
Yeah, and we've got Ella Wiley, it looks like on the back there is. No, it's Penny Pawson.
Yeah,
31,
number 31 there.
31,
That was
31.
Penny Pawson from Auckland.
Auckland 31. Auckland 31.
So out that lap as they come towards the bell. And again, you've got Erin Downey near the back there, so she'll have to be careful and not to get caught out. And Emily Sherman's back on the front, so within a couple of laps, she's gone from the back to the front.
Yeah, as we come through here, we have Erin Downey, Anna Wilkinson, and Prudence Fowler
49.
on the back.
49.
And we've just seen Anna Wilkinson get caught by the devil, so she's out on the elimination.
Yeah, as we see, Bryony both are still riding the front here very strongly, as she tends to do. She's a very powerful rider. Hasn't got the kick of some of the other riders, but she's definitely got the endurance and the pace to ride the front like this here.
Yeah, and she's doing really well at it. So, and because she's such a powerful rider, she does become very hard to get around.
So we see,
Looks
I think
like
that
Erin
might have been
34.
Erin Downey from Canterbury
34.
there.
Canterbury,
Number 34, yeah, that's Erin Downey there.
Doesn't quite know she's out yet, but she will when she comes through for the bell in the next lap. So I've got
Canterbury,
Emily Sherman
34,
and,
you are
It
out.
looks like Prue Fowler trying to fight out for that last position so far, but Prue's got a good turn of speed around the outside, and Holly Edmondson looks like she's going to have to make a dive down, otherwise she might be in trouble.
35. 35.
Number 35, that's Holly Edmondson,
And
Mid-South
she was
Canterbury.
in trouble.
That is a surprise. Obviously, just found herself not quite in the position that she wanted come the finish line, and she's been eliminated.
So as we get the bell again, so we're starting to really get down to the sort of nitty-gritty of this elimination, and definitely the pace will start to tell a factor in how these girls are feeling now. So looks like we're going to have...
It's like Emily Sherman trying to fight. Be close between her and Emma Cumming from Southland.
36. 36.
It's Emma Cumming that's gone this time, so she just dipped out, so she was definitely fighting hard to try and get through, but she was also boxed in at the same time, which makes it pretty challenging.
Yeah, that bottom line can definitely catch you out if you're not awares.
So there's 5 to go here, and looking at the positioning of where we're at, I'd say Sammy Donnelly looks like she's in a bit of trouble unless she can get out.
Yeah, she's found herself below Prudence Fowler. Looks like Emily Sherman's going to try and ride around the outside, but she may have saved herself there. Emily didn't quite have the legs to come over the top.
51.
So it's Emily Sherman from West Coast North Island that's eliminated.
Yeah, we're seeing a great turn of work done here from Ella Wiley. She's definitely riding a great pace on the front and setting it up for herself to actually have a really good chance at a medal. We see Sammy Donnelly's trying to make a move around the outside, so she's not boxed in for this next race, and she's got a really good wheel of Bryony Botha with Prudence Fowler. It looks like just sort of struggling a little bit on the back.
Yeah, it looks like Prue's going to try and run at Ella before the line, but she just runs out of legs. So it looks like Prudence Fowler from Waikato Bay Planning has been eliminated, number 43.
So we've got one more rider to be eliminated here, so and then we're into the final 2. So it'll be really interesting to see what the tactics are for Bryony and Ella and Sammy. Traditionally, Bryony in the elite squad would be one of the favourites for this event, and Sammy Donnelly's the dual junior worlds rep, so she's got a bit of pedigree there, and her dad's an Olympic Games rep as well. And then Ella Wiley, who's been very, very strong the whole time.
Yeah, it just looks like Ella Wiley is running her legs as well after all that work that she's done on the front to keep her out of trouble.
And these are actually our first two riders off the rail as well. So Bryony Botha and Sammy Donnelly were lined up behind each other just as they are now. So it'll be really interesting to see, and hopefully they look to try and take it to each other here. So Bryony's taking it high with Sammy just following her.
Yeah, it looks like Bryony's jumped there and Sammy's trying to follow her wheel as she might try and pop out towards the finish line.
She's going to be able to get off the wheel, and Bryony's 2 from 2. Great ride from Sammy Donnelly, who's in the mix with the development team at the moment. And then we've got Ella Wiley, who came across in 3rd, again backing up an excellent 3rd place from yesterday.
Yeah, technically a very smart race by Sammy Donnelly from Canterbury there. We didn't mention her all race, which is usually a good sign for the elimination. Means she's in a good position. We didn't really see her until that last four. So yeah, she's ridden a good race, but there was no coming around Bryony Botha there from Waikato.
So we've got Bryony Botha, Sammy Donnelly taking a second place there, Ella Wiley, a second bronze medal for her, Prue Fowler from, originally Auckland, now riding for Waikato, Emily Sherman in fifth, who's making a really strong comeback in track cycling after a little bit of time away with injury, Emma Cumming in sixth, Holly Edmondson in seventh, and Erin Downey in eighth. So that was a pretty exciting race, Keon, and always a little bit of a lottery, the elimination. It's just whether you can sort of get in the right position and make the most out of every sort of gap that opens up in front of you.
Yeah, exactly. It's you really got to take chances and go in with a game plan and decide which way you want to ride it, because if you get stuck at the back there and you weren't planning on sprinting, then you can get caught out very easily, especially if you're on the bottom line.
So as we progress from here now, we're back to the Paracycling individual pursuit final. So it'll be really good to see what happens in the next wee ride. And we're looking at them getting the track ready, and the starting gates are on and ready to go.
Yeah, it looks like we've got Elizabeth Gasson up again.
It'll be really interesting to see how these ladies back up from earlier this morning. So they had a really good ride earlier in the session, and a 14-second PB for Elizabeth. So that's definitely nothing to be ashamed at, is it? It's a pretty awesome achievement.
No, definitely not. She's also obviously come here with awesome legs, and be awesome to see if she can try and back that ride up and possibly go even quicker. So we see her bike just getting loaded into the starting dock there.
So there we go, the bike's in the gate and ready to go. So they're just making sure that it's nice and stable before we get on and get away to a clean start.
Yeah, she got away very cleanly last time, so let's hopefully her second time out of the gate will be just as smooth.
Yeah, and she progressed really nicely out of that gate, and just punched away and kept a nice line around the banking and got up to speed well, and that clearly showed.
She gets away there, another clean start from Elizabeth. She's going to get up to speed before she jumps into those aero bars.
And she's doing really well here, holding that black line nicely. So just trying to make the track as short as she can. Just transitioned into the aero bars and back onto the black line.
It's always interesting to see how if riders can back up from their qualifying pursuits earlier in the day. Obviously, with the sessions being your rides being crammed into one session, you've got to back up within a matter of hours. So yeah, it's really important to try and recover well after that first ride, so you can put a decent ride in here for the second.
And it's always hard to back up on a second ride, especially when you've gone out as hard as Elizabeth would have in the first round that she did. So that she really dug deep and hit a massive PB. So she's definitely going to be feeling it in her legs when she's riding around here for the 3K today.
Yeah, I think regardless of the outcome, she can be very, very happy with her first ride, and as long as you're seeing the improvements that are being made, then I'd say she'd be pretty happy.
Yeah, there's so many positives out of what she achieved earlier in the session, and so definitely can't walk away disappointed.
Yeah, 100%. She's off to a good first start here. She's riding pretty clean lines still in those aero bars. It can be pretty hard to try and keep your bike nice and steady when you crouch down and you're relying on your forearms to do most of the steering here. She comes through, 7 laps to go. She's about to hit her halfway mark.
And she's looking really composed at this stage, Keon. Not a lot of body movement, just really sitting there driving with the legs, which is really good to see.
Yeah, she's making it look pretty effortless at the moment, but rest assured she'll be starting to feel the burn very, very soon.
So she's just about to come through with 5 to go, so just over a K to go. So the lactic acid build-up and the pain's definitely starting to come on, and she'll be really looking to push through this now.
Yeah, that last kilo always bites you pretty hard if you have gone out maybe a bit too quick, but she's still looking pretty steady here. If she comes through, she's going to get 1 kilometre to go now.
And she's holding still really good lines here, so not a lot of signs that she's under pressure as she comes through with 3 to go. And really good leg drive still, so it doesn't look like she's started pedaling squares or the legs have got lactic acid flowing through them too much at the moment.
No, I think she's going to run a pretty similar time to her PB this morning, so yeah, it's a great way to back up from the qualifying round.
And it's always hard to back up when you've gone out and ridden as hard as Elizabeth would have. So, yeah, full credit to her and really putting her head down and going for it.
Comes through with 2 to go now. She's really starting to feel the burn, but she's holding steady and, yeah, not too far to go now.
As we come into the bell now, she'll be really looking to finish off this ride and drive through, so just under 250 metres to go. And you just start seeing signs that she's starting to fatigue, so a little bit of more upper body roll than what you saw before, and the head's going a little bit as well. So she's definitely been pushing herself through this last sort of K of the ride.
She comes across the line with a 4:37, another impressive time from Elizabeth.
Yeah, so that's 38.965, so K an hour. So really, really good ride. So and a great backup.
I think only just slightly slower than her ride earlier today.
Yeah, and in such a short time, it's really good to see her as she nods her head there. So she's obviously pretty happy with that. So it's really good to see her backing up so well, and also really putting the effort down to deliver those results for herself. So we've just had a little bit of information through, just as we get Nicole in the gates there. So in the Kieran final just before, number 101, Florence McNabb has been relegated for not holding her line during the sprint or regular sprinting. So she originally finished in 3rd place in that race.
As we see here, Nicole Murray's ready to get going. She's loaded into the gate. She is looking to back up from her awesome time earlier today.
straight out of the gates there, and really good forward hit drive. So great to see her get out of the blocks really well, and she's holding that pole line nicely, so taking the shortest distance around the track as she winds that gear up. So she'll look to get over the gear as fast as possible, and then get into that aero tuck and go from there.
Yeah, it'll be really important for her and also her team behind her to see if she can back up her ride from this morning, which was very strong. So yeah, it'll be really, really important to see if the leads can repeat that ride again.
Yeah, as she comes around, she'll get a call from Coach Damien Wiseman on how she's progressing. She'll obviously have a set schedule that she's riding for, so they have a certain lap time that they're looking for to try and hit most laps. It just gives you an idea of sort of how you're progressing to the time you're trying to ride.
Yeah, again, she's looking very aerodynamically sound on the bike with that trying to rest her head on those forearms. But yeah, she's looking very, very quick as she comes through with 8 laps to go.
Yeah, and the thing for Nicole that she's doing really well here is her track position and how she's actually sitting on around the velodrome. She's taking the shortest lines. She's and while doing that, she's holding her aerodynamic position, which is not easy to do.
No, it's a very hard thing to do. Takes a lot of time and practice and patience, and yeah, a lot of hours spent on this velodrome for Nicole, I'd imagine, trying to perfect that. And also with her coach Damien, that would be a big focus of theirs.
So we're coming through with, she's got 6 to go, so we are halfway through this ride for her. So she's riding really well, so just about through the first 2 Ks, and that'll give us a really good indication of how Nicole's progressing in her ride.
Yeah, she's even though she's got coming through with a kilo to go, she's still holding a very, very strong core and holding the black line again.
Yeah, and by the look of that, the time that she's just put through that 2K is very similar to what she rode this morning. So she's backing up really well, especially with that all that intensity from the earlier part of the session.
Yeah, she'll really be starting to feel the legs now. This is crunch time in the individual pursuit. This is where you really have to push through that mental barrier and try and give your all towards that last 2 laps.
Yeah, so she's just gone through 2 to go, so she will be fighting for it now, Keon, and you see Damien Wiseman down there giving her a really good rev up, telling her she's doing well and really trying to encourage her to build on her ride.
Yeah, at this point you just have to go flat out. There is no more pacing strategy. You just have to go as hard as you possibly can for this last 2 laps. Yeah, have to push through the pain. There is absolutely no reason to leave anything else out there.
And this is a really good ride, a really close ride from this morning as well. I think it might be slightly outside what she did earlier, but still a very, very classy ride. And yeah, she looked really good through that whole ride. And again, a 48k an hour average.
Yeah, that would have been really important for her to run that time as close as possible to earlier today. Just shows the legs have the ability to go through those big exertions and then be able to run through it again only an hour and a half later.
Yeah, and it's really good seeing how these ladies were able to back up these hard efforts earlier in the session. So we're just about to head over to the under-19 points race, and this is one of my favourite races, the under-19 women in the points race. You definitely see a lot of action, and there's a lot of different racing and tactics that are involved in this. So it'll be really interesting to see what these riders do and what they're trying to do to take the win and also to ride their best. some really strong under 19 women in this field as well, Keon.
Yeah, it's a big field, but a pretty stacked field as well. There's some very strong women in here. Amelia Sykes, B. Townsend, Shauna Gray, Florence McNabb, Molly Hayes. Just a few of the names that you need to look out for, but this field overall is very strong. There's no one dragging the chain in this.
So we see them just walking up up and onto the velodrome now, and the ladies that walked up earlier are just about to pull themselves onto the fence. So they will be lining up in a certain order just before they get started.
Yeah, so this is a 60-lap race with which is 15 Ks, which means sprint every 10 laps, and then with the last sprint, it's double point. So it'll be 10, 5, 3, and 1.
So if we have a look, we'll have a look quickly at the riders that are about to take the start line. So as they get onto the fence. So we're seeing Amelia Sykes there, the current New Zealand or time trial champion. There's Sammy Walker, Emma Blackmore. Then we've got Maddie Lowry there from Canterbury. B. Townsend, who's been working really hard for these championships. Shauna Gray there. And Georgia Simpson. You've got Florence McNabb, who's just looking to back up a really good ride here. Cara Kelly. Molly Hayes. There's Belle Judd. And Ruby Bath there. Anna Lachey. And Tegan Faringa. So as we were looking before, there's some really good names here, and some girls that will be really looking out to take the race by the scruff of the neck, and there'll be some tactics involved, whether it's trying to sprint for every lap or try and take a lap, because of course in this race, if you do take a lap on the bunch, you end up getting quite a good points bonus, Keon.
Yeah. If you do take a lap on the field, you are given 20 points to your name, and then also with the sprints every 10 laps being 5, 3, 2, and 1. If you are spending some time off the front, then you might be able to build yourself a nice buffer there.
So just seeing them pull away from the fence, you've got B. Townsend just hitting the front in front of Sammy Walker. So initially what you'll usually see in a race like this is there'll be a little bit of time just sort of settling in. They'll be getting up to pace, just sort of trying to find their feet and their legs a little bit. And we've got sprints every 10 laps here. So 5, 3, 2, and 1, and then you've got double points for the last lap. So obviously the person with the most points is the winner at the end. And as we were saying before, a strong field, so it'll be interesting to see how this race unfolds.
Yeah, we're off to a pretty mellow start at the moment here. They're all staying together, rolling through nicely. I'd expect there will be some attacks trying to go by the likes of Canterbury and Waikato, but for the moment it's all together, led by Amelia Sykes.
So Amelia's been very successful through the age groups. So from under 17, winning the under 17 pursuit and time trial, and then that's continued through the under 19, winning the elite time trial last season, and then also holds, I think, the all-comers record for the individual pursuit in New Zealand.
Yeah, she's definitely very accomplished already in her short cycling career so far. So big things, I think, for her. We see everyone still rolling through pretty well. B. Townsend just coming through, followed by Amelia.
And B's actually just been down in Christchurch recently, preparing for the national champs. Her coach is Christchurch-based coach Elise Fraser, who is also working with Amelia Sykes, so it'll be interesting to see how these girls are going here. And Sammy, it looks like she's taking control of that race.
Got 5 laps to go here before the first sprint, so yeah, we'll see the girls start to line themselves up and get into a position for this first sprint.
Yeah, now's when you really need to be starting to think about it as well. So Florence McNabb hits the front, but you need to be thinking about where you're positioned and like who you're positioned around.
Yeah, it's all about, especially with 60 laps here, you really need to think about your positioning before the sprint and also after it as well. You don't want to be expending any extra energy than you need to. So if you can follow a rider's go through and pick up a couple points rather than trying to sprint over the top of them, that might save yourself some energy for the latter sprints.
Yeah, and Sammy Walker's on the front here. She was very strong in the Kieran heats earlier.
So we come through here with 52 laps on the board. Sprint next lap, we're going to catch the bell. They're all sort of jockeying for position, sort of 4 wide coming through that corner there, so the speed's about to pick up very soon.
Yeah, and you can see here, like riders like Amelia Sykes have really nailed that position early. Florence McNabb's going, but it's going to be very hard to push through. Shauna Gray looks like she's hit out very hard as well.
Yeah, that's Shauna Gray who's hit over the outside of Amelia Sykes, and she's going to lead them through as Amelia tries to come around the top of her, but looks like it's just going to be Shauna taking those first points.
Yeah, that was definitely very close there as Amelia came running at her hard, but really good sprint there from Shauna. She took ascendancy and really took the sprint by the scruff of its neck.
This is where you're going to see here the riders who probably don't have the best sprint on them. That's where we've got, they're going to try and jump off the front and mop up some sprint points and possibly try and take a lap. That's their, that'll be their game plan.
Yeah, and that's riders like Georgia Simpson, who is super aggressive, was really aggressive at Omnium Nationals. So it's great to see her continuing that on.
As we see the first sprint results here, that's Shauna Gray taking the 5 points ahead of Amelia Sykes, B Townsend and Samantha Walker picking up the 2 and 1 points.
So the points race is often about accumulation of points as well. So you've seen the sort of top 4 get a few points and get themselves on the board. So it'll be interesting in the next couple of sprints to see if we're seeing similar names come up.
Yeah, it's all about being consistent through all those sprints and not trying to outdo yourself too much, because with the race of this length, it's really important to stay fresh or as fresh as you can for this last sprint, which is double points.
Yeah, so saw Georgia Simpson putting in a dig there, and that was closely followed by B Townsend, so she shut that down pretty quickly.
Yeah, obviously B's got a good sprint in her, so she's going to be trying to do everything she can to shut these attacks down from the riders who possibly don't have that sprint with them.
As we see, Maddie Lowry looks like she's trying to make a move off the top of the banking, so and she goes to the front and really tries to build that pace.
Yeah, she's closely followed by Tegan Feringa from Auckland, and Shauna Gray's all over that as well, so that's staying close in the bunch is Amelia, and also the 90 of Emma Blackmore.
Yeah, and you've got Shauna Gray sticking to Amelia Sykes' wheel there, a very smart move, just trying to probably negate what would be the fastest sprinter in that group. So coming in with 2 to go. You've got Cara Kelly leading it out, B Townsend on the wheel, while Amelia Sykes is sitting a little bit higher.
Yeah, it's like Shauna's moving towards the front with Amelia on her wheel. We've got B she looks like she's pretty keen to lead it out and take that bottom line.
Yeah, she just made sure she's not boxed in there, which is really smart, as Shauna looks to hit out. Amelia's sort of following around the outside on the hip a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see who's going to kick as Shauna gets out of her seat and accelerates really well. So B's holding on quite nicely at the moment. Looks like she's going to maybe nip third. Shauna's got first again, so looks like first for Shauna, and then Amelia's got second and B as they continue the speed on after the sprint.
Yeah, that was smart thinking there from Shauna Gray. She waited over her shoulder. She was looking the whole time for Amelia to make that move and try and come around her, and she managed to jump out behind from B and take that sprint. See a bit of a relaxing here from the field as there's a few riders trying to catch their breath after that fast sprint there. Be waiting for an attack from possibly Georgia Simpson again.
Yeah, so here we look at the sprint 2. So you've got Shauna Gray, Amelia Sykes, B Townsend. I think that's the same result from the last sprint. And then you've got Georgia Simpson in 4th. So from overall points, we should see Shauna Gray take a lead on 10 points, from Amelia Sykes on 6, and great riding from B Townsend on 4.
Yeah, there's some pretty tactical racing going on here between the sprints as we see an attack around the outside from Canterbury.
So that's Maddie Lowry making the move there. One of the...
Closely followed there by the Aucklander of Belle Judd, with Emma Blackmore leading the field through, Florence McNabb on her wheel. But these two riders, they're looking to try and build a gap to soak up some of those sprint points.
I see Florence McNabb leading the bunch back up.
Yeah, looks like that gap's being shut down from the bunch here. They don't want to let these two riders get away. I want to try and soak up as many points as possible in the bunch. Not too keen to let any riders off the front yet. The bunch is looking pretty strung out here. That's a pretty surefire way of knowing that the gas is on and everyone's pretty tired. Approaching the halfway mark here of the race with 2 laps to go until we get our bell.
Yeah, Sammy Walker just is looking at hitting the front here with Georgia Simpson there, and it looks like Florence McNabb's taking a flyer off the top of the track.
Big move from the Tasman rider, Florence McNabb, followed there by Waikato's Molly Hayes. They're going to build up a nice wee gap before they catch the bell here.
Yeah, and you're looking at, looks like B Townsend's in second wheel there in the chasing group, followed by Shauna Gray and Amelia Sykes. So B's making a move for that to try and catch them with Shauna on her wheel, and Amelia's looking at trying to get some points back.
Yeah, B's jumped early there, and she's really towed Shauna up to these 2 riders off the front. But again, it's going to be Shauna who takes the points ahead of B Townsend and Florence McNabb. Be close between Amelia Sykes and Molly Hayes for that last singular point there in that sprint.
Yeah, it really looks like Shauna Gray's taking the race a little bit by the scruff of the neck here. So she's riding really well in these first 3 sprints and showing some really good speed and great bunch positioning.
Yeah, we can really see the bunch. It's really starting to strung out after these sprints and then all coming back together. So it's yeah, some of these girls are getting pretty tired. So yeah, it's going to be, I think, survival of the fittest when it comes to these last 2 sprints.
Yeah, and I think here's the results. So Molly Hayes did get 4th. So Shauna Gray takes her 3rd sprint, so takes her to 15. B Townsend's leapfrogged Amelia Sykes into 2nd. Amelia Sykes now 3rd, with Florence McNabb taking the 2 points in that last sprint and moving to 4th.
Yeah, that was a pretty smart move from B Townsend there going early. Caught Amelia Sykes a bit off guard, I think, and she didn't quite manage to score any points, which has let her leapfrog Amelia in the standings to third.
So you can just see the paces off now with them following Maddie Lowry up the top of the track. So she's had a couple of digs off the front. Georgia Simpson's on her wheel, so be interesting to see when Georgia has a wee crack at trying to ride off the front. She's well known for it. So hopefully we're going to see the girls try and pick the pace up and get quite aggressive in this next wee bit of the race.
Yeah, if this is if you're wanting to make a move and try and take a lap or get some time off the front, this is the time to do it when the bunch is riding high like this and you're not too close to one of the sprints. It's a good time to try and get off the front.
And it looks like Sammy Walker's thinking the same thing as you just said there, Keon. So she's actually made the move. She's gone for it, shown a clean pair of heels, and she's really put her head down. She's opened up about a 10 or 15 metre gap and yeah, it's trying to ride away. So she's been riding really strongly domestically in Canterbury, and is one of the sort of stronger under-19 women that we've got at home.
Yeah, that was a really well-timed move there, and we see that some of the impotence of the bunch is gone. We have the Southlander of Ruby Bath. She's hit the front, and also another Canterbury rider as well.
Yeah, it's Maddie Lowry having a crack to get across, and it looks like Amelia Sykes is riding around the outside. So Sammy just needs to put her head down, keep going, just be really sure of what she's doing and sure of herself.
Yeah, she's going to catch the bell this time around as Amelia Sykes is leading the front of the bunch there. With Shauna Gray trying to just stalking her wheel there, but this is good for Shauna as that is another couple of points that is taken away from any riders trying to overtake her in the point standing.
Yeah, and it looks like Amelia Sykes, Shauna Gray, B Townsend, so the top three are lining themselves up again. So Shauna's got some great leg speed there. She's lining up Amelia Sykes and nipping around quite nicely, so she'll go into second for that. B Townsend might even roll her as well. So we're seeing the first three really start to sort of establish themselves here. So Shauna Gray will take 3 points, B Townsend's going to take 2, and then Amelia Sykes 1. And a really good sprint win by Sammy Walker. She sort of took the control there, and so she's now going to go on to 6 points.
Yeah, that was a pretty hotly contested sprint there with Shauna Gray managing to get over the top there. But that's another couple of points for B Townsend on Amelia Sykes, just managing to pip her on the line there.
So here we go. This is just confirmation. So Sammy Walker taking the win, and then you can see Shauna Gray is basically, unless someone's going to lap the field, she's just about unbeatable here. So B Townsend on 9, Amelia Sykes on 7, Sammy Walker's gone to 6. So at the moment, barring the last sprint, it's getting close to a 4-horse race.
Yeah, that was a smart move by Samantha Walker there. She hit out early before that sprint at a really, really crucial time when the bunch was sort of looking at each other, and she managed to sneak away and take the 5 points on offer there.
So you can see Florence McNabb just rolling to the front. The pace is completely out of the race right now, so it'll be interesting. It's just about time that someone wants to have a wee dig here, and here we go. This is Amelia Sykes, and this is definitely a wheel you want to be on. Don't quite understand why another Canterbury rider's chasing, but that's okay. And Amelia Sykes has got a clean pair of heels there, and this puts a lot of pressure on Shauna Gray. So she's going to really have to close this, otherwise she's in trouble.
Yeah, Shauna Gray, she's going to have to go after this because that's her nearest competitor in terms of strength-wise up the road there. And you see there's no one left in that bunch who feels strong enough to help Shauna Gray with chasing that down. So I think it's down to Shauna and B Townsend here. They're really going to have to try and make something happen if they want to keep their positions here.
And with the lead that Shauna has, this is really Shauna's race to lose. So she's got to make sure that she's closing this down. I don't think that you're going to see B Townsend and that really put the boot in because of her position there. It's really Shauna's to make that race.
Yeah, and Amelia's really gotten almost half a lap advantage on the bunch now, as they've really slowed up, going 3-4 wide. Amelia's trucking away here. It looks like she's going to take the sprint points up here and possibly even a lap at this stage.
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, she's got 2 laps to the sprint, so she really does, or 1 lap, should I say. So she's going to get caught up a little bit with this sprint. So the other girls are going to have to position themselves really well. But Amelia's riding really strongly. She's now in the same straight. So they'll get away a little bit here, but we'll just need to see what's going to happen.
It's going to be really important for Shauna Gray to keep the speed up in the bunch here after the sprint, because Amelia Sykes comes through, she takes those 5 points, but more importantly, she's going to try and take the lap.
And you see B Townsend parked on Shauna Gray's wheel, so B's showing some really good speed here. And I think Shauna actually might be feeling this a little bit. So if these girls are really smart, they'd keep going. But I think they're just starting to show how tired they are. So Amelia's going to have to really put her head down and go here if she wants to try and win this race.
Yeah, this really is a 9-lap time trial here for Amelia Sykes. She's got to try as hard as she can, not worry about that last sprint. She's just got to try and latch onto the back of this group and take those 20 points to take the lead in this race.
Yeah, and this is really good aggressive racing from Amelia. She's traditionally a rider that is very fast, doesn't need to do this. But here she's showing how much endurance she has. She is the fastest pursuiter that we've had in New Zealand. Shauna Gray's panicking a little bit. She's hitting out. So Amelia just needs to sort of bide her time, keep riding hard, and hopefully what's going to happen is everyone will latch onto Shauna, and then everyone's going to pull up. So Amelia's just putting her head down. Shauna's doing everything she can. What Shauna hasn't maybe figured in is if Amelia wins the last sprint and Shauna gets nowhere, then Amelia's going to win the race.
Yeah, it's a sticky situation here for Shauna, because she's going to need to try and conserve energy as well for the sprint and keep that bunch away from Amelia, but she's going to need some help from B Townsend as well and a few of the other races, because she can't keep that bunch away from Amelia by herself and also have a chance of winning or coming second in that final sprint. Yeah,
Amelia's fighting really hard here, so the bunch is sort of sitting up again, so Amelia really needs to dig in. Otherwise there's going to be some really unhappy girls when she catches the back, if she catches back.
She's got 4 laps here to latch onto the back of this field, and it possibly looks like she might do it. She's on the same straight as them. It's this last 50 metres is going to be super painful for her, but it looks like she's going to do it.
Yeah, she's just about there. So she's looking at it, and what a ride by Amelia Sykes. Really gutsy. She's taken the race and said, hey, this is how I need to win the race, and she's gone out there and done it. And basically, I think now she can't be beaten.
Yeah, that's 20 points for Amelia Sykes, so she rockets herself from second all the way up into first with 32 points.
So now what we're looking for is what's going to happen between Shauna Gray, B Townsend, Sammy Walker. So that's sort of where the medals are going to go today, unless some of the other girls are outside of the medal table. But looking at this, we've got Maddie Lowry leading out from B Townsend, who's in fantastic position. Shauna Gray's on her wheel, so they're really fighting for it. B's just got to be careful, she's not going to get boxed in.
And Amelia Sykes doing all that she needs to do is hold on to that bunch there as Shauna Gray takes the final sprint ahead of...
It's actually B Townsend, so I got them confused earlier on.
Yeah, takes the points ahead of B and Molly Hayes.
So there we're looking at Amelia Sykes takes the win, I'd say, and it looks like Shauna Gray with a great ride in second, and B Townsend, who's actually come up really nicely, coming away with third, and really good bunch riding by those three. Every sprint they were in the points. And also to mention Sammy Walker there. She was really consistent, rode really well, and you can see her congratulating Amelia Sykes there.
Yeah, that was a fantastic ride there by Amelia Sykes. She really took the bull by the horns and gritted her teeth, took that lap. That was super impressive.
So here we go. This is the final result, unconfirmed of course. So Amelia Sykes taking the win on 32 points. Shauna Gray, I don't think the last sprints have been added here. You've got 18 and then you've got B Townsend. So this was until the last sprint.
Yeah, as we see, there's no doubt about the winner there. That Amelia Sykes, all she needed to do was follow in that last sprint, and that's what she did. And with those 32 points, there was no way of anyone catching her.
So you can see two training partners there, Amelia Sykes and B Townsend. They'll be really happy with that. And I know their training partner, Sean Threadgold, will be jumping for joy. He's definitely a big fan of Amelia Sykes. So it's great to see Amelia take the win, B Townsend, who's been working really hard, and the other Canterbury girls and Waikato girls and everyone really in this race have really delivered.
Yeah, it's good to see everyone racing to their strengths as well. Shauna, B, both knowing that they have the strong sprint. They went after every sprint point that they could, and Amelia obviously taking matters into her own hands and taking that lap in such a strong fashion. So
you can see Amelia and just finding out that B's got third, so they've been working really hard together and training partners. There's their coach, Elise Fraser, so they'll be really stoked with that result. And Logan Townsend's just taking B's bike away, so no doubt he'll be a pretty happy dad.
Yeah, so I've got Amelia Sykes taking the win on 32 points, ahead of Shauna Gray on 28, and B Townsend rounding out the podium on 18.
So definitely the legs will be burning after that one, Keon.
Yeah, I feel like pretty tired just sitting here watching them.
It's a pity you've got a points race tonight, mate.
Yeah.
So you can see Sammy Walker congratulating Amelia there. And then Amelia, her pre-race ritual is sour squirms, so she will be eating those. She definitely loves them, and it might be that homemade spag bowl she had before she raced. So they're just being congratulated by Maddie Lowry and Samantha Donnelly, who just took second in the Elite Women's Omnium. So following this, we've got the presentations for this session. So we'll have the Elite Women's Sprint, the Under-19 Kieran, the Omnium, and the points race. And we've also got the Paracycling presentations, where both those ladies just rode absolutely fantastic today.
I think I'll definitely take a few pointers from Amelia Sykes there for my points race later on tonight. It's a way to do it.
Yeah, it showed really good awareness of what was happening in the race, where she was, and what she needed to do to win it. Like, she knew if she went any later, she wouldn't get the second to last sprint, and it wouldn't be enough. And as we can see in the points, it's only just enough, but it's still enough. So 32 points for Amelia Sykes from Shauna Gray, who rode fantastically in 28 points. B Townsend on 8, closing it out in 18. Sammy Walker, who was very aggressive on 8. Maddie Lowry, who was riding really well there and being quite aggressive, which is really good to see. She got 4 points. She was in 5th, so a really good finish. And then you've got Molly Hayes and Florence McNabb, so rounding out the top 7.
Yeah, and as you can see with 5th and 6th both having 4 points apiece, that comes down to the last sprint. Whoever finishes in front of each other, they will take the higher position. More hugs there for Amelia Sykes.
Yeah, Sophie De Vries just congratulating Amelia. Obviously seems pretty happy with that result. And again, beside is B Townsend. It'll be interesting to see that with the individual pursuit tomorrow, has that taken any sting out of Amelia's legs?
Yeah, especially with having ridden basically just one now as well after already a 50 lap points race. It'd be interesting to try and predict whether that will take the sting out of these girls' legs, especially Amelia with that hard effort there.
So we're just getting set up for the presentations now. So getting all the athletes organised and ready to go.
Oh no, Kieran. Kieran.
Yeah, the under 19 women's Kieran is what Kira Kelly won.
Have you got the script for the para?
Wendy, the Paracycling.
Oh no, they're together. Okay.
Do that. She might be there, but
Sorry, I'll get you to come over, and then after we can hang around. We're just going to wait and see. I'm standing up in a minute, so you can have this in a minute. So, she's not here.
I'll just check. Oh, sorry, they are. Yeah, that's right. I think I was spelling up Kira. And then, but to mix them up, they're also, the other one thought they were talking about Kira Kelly, so they're having late afternoon sessions.
Kira and Caitlin. One does 19, one does 16. Yeah, it's right.
Yeah, B-R-Y-O-N-Y. Thanks, Liz, that's here. Anna, it's Liz, that's here. Elizabeth, that's here.
Yep.
Yep, both of them are through here.
I am. You think you had time to say? Yes.
Oh my goodness.
No one cares what was spelled.
No, they're worried about C3 and stuff on the para.
Just go C1 to C5.
It's C15, that's
Yeah.
how it is.
Yeah.
That's what we all need to do. We write it on the paper.
Yeah.
I think they're doing the keys. Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, the awards ceremony for the 2022 Track National Championships Under-19 Women's Keirin will now take place. The medals will be presented by Erin Cricklington, President of Cycling New Zealand Road and Track. In third place, and the winner of the bronze medal, representing Waikato Bay of Plenty, Sophie de Vries. In second place, and the winner of the silver medal, representing Southland, Pearl Harris-Blaine. And in first place, and the winner of the gold medal and the recipient of a national jersey, your 2022 Under-19 Women's Keirin National Champion, representing Southland, Kiara Kelly. Kiara also receives a native plant from proud sponsors Amber Garden Centre. Ladies and gentlemen, please show your appreciation for our place getters in the Under-19 Women's Keirin National Championships. Ladies and gentlemen, the award ceremony for the 2022 Track National Championships Elite Women's Sprint will now take place. I'd like to invite Erin Cricklington to present the medals again. In third place, and the winner of the bronze medal, representing Southland, Tinky Venter. In second place, and the winner of the silver medal, also representing Southland, Nicole Marshall. In first place, and the winner of the gold medal, and the recipient of a national jersey, your 2022 Elite Women's Sprint National Champion, representing Waikato Bay of Plenty, Olivia King. Olivia also receives the Barbara Levido Howe Sprint Cup and a native plant from Amber Garden Centre. Ladies and gentlemen, please show your appreciation for the place getters in your 2022 National Track Elite Women's Sprint Championships. The award ceremony for the 2022 Track National Championship Elite Women's Elimination will now take place. Erin Cricklington, the President of Cycling New Zealand Road and Track, will once again present medals. In third place, and the winner of the bronze medal, representing Auckland, Ella Wiley. In second place, and the winner of the silver medal, representing Canterbury, Samantha Donnelly. In first place, and the winner of the gold medal, and the recipient of a national champion's jersey, your 2022 Elite Women's Elimination National Champion, representing Waikato Bay of Plenty, Bryony Botha. Ladies and gentlemen, please show your appreciation for our Elite Women's Elimination National Championship podium. Ladies and gentlemen, the award ceremony for the 2022 Under-19 Women's Points Race will now take place. We welcome Erin Cricklington back to present the medals. In third place, and the winner of the bronze medal, representing Auckland, B. Townsend. In second place, and the winner of the silver medal, representing Waikato Bay of Plenty, Shauna Gray. In first place, and the winner of the gold medal and the national champions jersey, your 2022 Under-19 Women's Points Race national champion, representing Canterbury, Amelia Sykes. Amelia also receives the Bev May Cup and a native plant from our sponsors, Amber Garden Centre. Ladies and gentlemen, please show your appreciation for our place getters in your Under-19 Women's Points Race national champion podium. Ladies and gentlemen, the award ceremony for the 2022 Track National Championship Paracycling C1 to C5 individual pursuit will now take place. Erin Cricklington will once again present the medals. In second place, and the winner of the silver medal, please welcome to the podium, representing Wellington, Elizabeth Gasson. And Paddy. In first place, and the winner of the gold medal and your 2022 C1 to 5 individual pursuit national champion, also receiving a national jersey, representing Waikato Bay of Plenty, Nicole Murray. Nicole also receives a native plant from our sponsors, Amber Garden Centre. And ladies and gentlemen, please join us and show your appreciation for our place getters in the 2022 Paracycling C1 to 5 individual pursuit podium. And that concludes this afternoon's session and presentations. Thank you, and we'll see you all in an hour.
Please stay with us. We're just
Could we
about
just
to have
ask those who do
interviews
remain
with
in
our
the venue
winners.
to exit as soon as you can, and please use the tunnel to exit. We need to bring the next session in as soon as possible, so if everyone could get their things together and start to exit the venue. Thank you. No, that's right. Yep. We'll go Kiara, then we'll go Liv.
Please stay with us. We're just about to head across to get some interviews from our winners.
Amelia, can I grab you for a quick interview? Then Amelia, and then Nicole. Yep. Yes, she does that. Yep. Yep, you can come here. So we're just kind of like, guys, we'll get you to come a bit closer, and we'll just kind of, I'll stay where I am, and you exit that way, and you come in. So we'll just, yeah, yeah. You can take your money. I am, yeah.
I'm not going, sorry. Sorry, talking on phone.
I know.
And now down to the interviews.
Right, and we are catching up with Kiara Kelly, our recently crowned Under-19 Women's Karen champion. Congratulations on that, Kiara.
Thank you very much.
It's your first national title in the Under-19 grade?
Yeah, first national title overall, which is really exciting. Yeah.
That's fantastic. And you've come from Invercargill. this is a different velodrome, so what's your experience of being here, travelling as a group, particularly in these trying COVID circumstances?
Well, generally I just love travelling as a group. I just like the whole team vibe, hanging out with the younger cyclists, and this velodrome's amazing, awesome facilities, and I love the track here, so it's pretty cool. Yeah.
And you've got a few more days of racing. Have you got any more goals for the rest of this competition?
I think just give it the best I've got at the moment. Definitely looking forward to the IP, seeing what happens there, and yeah, just giving it all I've got.
What's the most fun part about cycling?
Going fast.
Awesome, congratulations. And we'll just grab Olivia King. Congratulations on your first elite sprint title.
Yeah, first elite sprint title, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
I've been told I can't mention that you used to be an enduro rider. It's all about sprinting right now. So what's your goals? Obviously, you've achieved something really great today. What's coming up for you?
It'll be Oshies in a few weeks, so just go over there and hopefully do some more PBs and hopefully take out the team sprint with Rebecca and Elise. So, yeah.
And the environment here, obviously we've got Finn coaching you at the moment, and we've got Nick Fleischer coming over after Oshies. How excited are you for that change?
Oh, I'm super excited. The team's been awesome since I've come into it. So, yeah, it will get even better with the new coach. So, it'll be cool.
Awesome. Congratulations on your first elite sprint title, and good luck for the rest of the competition.
Thank you.
Brioni, we're catching up with you again as another national champion. How does that feel today?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's only my third ever national title as an elite rider, so yeah, pretty stoked with that one.
And I caught you catching up with Adrian. How he's helping you guys with some coaching and with Ross and stuff. How is that going with Adrian?
Yeah, it's going really great. He's got a lot of knowledge being a rider for USA, so it's cool hearing like different tactics that he's done in the past. So yeah, it's just interesting hearing different things that he's thought of and trying to apply them in the racing ourselves.
Also, and you've got Oceanias coming up as well. I think you guys maybe leave next week. Any objectives for that?
Yeah, I think just want to race hard and just, yeah, I guess put into play like what we've learned here into the racing in Australia. So yeah, it should be good.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on another national title, and we'll catch up with you later in the week.
Cool. Thank you so much.
And we're just going to catch Amelia Sykes really quickly. I know you've just literally just come off the track. That was a fantastic win, took a lap and took that out points race out.
Yeah, I actually don't know how I did that. I'm real stoked, actually. I was a little bit unsure on the first two sprints. Got second in those, but I think I just kind of got to the end and had to back myself because that was the only way I was going to come through with the win, so kind of knew what to do, yeah.
And same as Cara, you guys in Canterbury have got a really strong track culture, and so it's fantastic to see lots of you here. And I know Elise Fraser is coaching you. Talk us with that relationship. It seems quite special.
Yeah, so me and Elise have been together for she's coached me for nearly 4 years now. Honestly, like, she's the most easiest person to work with. She's so understanding and she gets me as a person, and we work so well together. So I'm so stoked to have her as a coach. She's amazing.
Awesome. Well, that teamwork is really paying off. And you've been around for a few years at the national level. What keeps you coming back? What do you enjoy about cycling?
I like how, everyone comes along and gets to push themselves in whatever event they really want to do well in, I guess. And, I'm looking forward to the IPs tomorrow, so that'll be my thing to push myself in. But it's really cool to see lots of new people here. And, I'm quite a social person, so I really love to meet new people. And, yeah.
Well, good luck for the rest of the competition.
Thank you.
And our final, we've grabbed Nicole Murray, our newly crowned Paracycling C1 to C5 individual pursuit champion. National jerseys look good on you, Nicole.
Thanks. Yeah, it was a pretty exciting day today. Yeah.
And you're coming off the Paralympics. I know it was last year, but talk us through that experience. Was that your first Paralympics?
It was, yeah. So I felt like it was quite a different Paralympic experience. I don't know if I got like the normal experience, but it was still exciting nevertheless. And it was amazing being amongst the Japanese people, and just how everyone was just volunteer was amazing too. Like beautiful, great people. Yeah.
Awesome. And you've also got Oshies as your next goal, so leaving in a few weeks. What's your goals for that?
I would like to PB in my pursuit. Whether or not that's going to happen is a different story, but that's what I would love to do, and just progress on all my races in various aspects. Yeah.
Awesome. And you're also very lucky to have Damien Wiseman seeing you guys through this period. Talk us through your relationship with Damien.
Yeah, he's a great coach. He really just embodies the coach who supports every aspect of your well-being before your performance, and there's nothing more valuable than that in a coach.
And just some of the teammates that you've got, I know that you threw Nick Blinko under the bus to do some commentary. He did a great job. What does it mean to work with other para athletes and our other HP athletes towards that mutual goal?
It's really cool to just be in amongst other disabled people and not be the minority for a change. And everyone's just so good at lifting each other up, and I just love the culture we have in our team. Everyone's so inspiring. It's great.
It's great. We love having you around, and you're really inspiring. So thank you very much. National jersey looks good, and we'll see you later in the week.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for joining us today with the coverage of the Cycling New Zealand National Championships at the Grassroots Velodrome. Just a couple of quick thank yous. First off, a massive thanks to Cycling New Zealand for making this event possible, supported by Skoda, Amber Garden Centre and Lavender Acre Farm, with funding received by Trillion Trust. Also, thanks to the high performance partners from Cycling New Zealand, Southern Spars, Kask Helmets, Nicole, Victoria, Digirit. So we just saw some great racing today, and it was fantastic to see. So we're going to head off to session 3, not too far away, and thanks from everyone at the Sky Sports team and SBI Productions. Cheers.